link to.
Yep. Sharon. We're live.
Awesome.
Hey, g'day.
G'day. It's almost Saturday.
We had a good week, and here we are again. Well, we've got some strange stuff for you today. But before we do that, we're just going to have a little yarn and relax because it is Saturday. And welcome, Jules and Nacy. So, Yama, g'day. Jules, it's Saturday. Or it's Friday there for you, but
It's almost Saturday. Yama Luna, thanks for having me.
always good. We got some strange stuff tonight, Jules.
Whoop whoop.
The views and opinions that you hear on tonight's show are strictly those of the host and have nothing to do with your thoughts. If you agree or disagree, then yay or nay, but do what you must do.
Hey,
By all
welcome.
means, if you
G'day.
must lick the lizard, lick the lizard.
G'day,
Wizard
Nacy.
liquor.
How you doing, Nacy?
I am as fantastic as the universe will allow. Thank you.
That is good to know. Okay, so we're at the end of the year, eh? Already, everybody?
Oh, where did it go?
I just disappeared. They used up most of our time looking this way and that way instead
Hocus
of.
pocus.
Yeah, that's it. And that other one you said earlier, which we're not going to say. Yarns behind the scenes. All right, so what do we got for you today? I'll just tell people what we got for them today. I'm fiddling around with all my tech. So today I'll put up a warning, and thank you, Nacy, for that little note that you put down. We're going to look at 2 alien interviews, just short looks. They're a bit creepy. I think they're creepy anyway. Someone else might find them totally exciting. They're a little bit creepy and dark for my liking, but I thought I'd present them anyway. The reason we're looking at 2, one's in 1964 and the other one's in 1971. So they're 2 different time periods. Yes, they can look like puppets. Make up your own mind, like Nacy said before. So, and then after that, I got a little thing on Antarctica from 1912. So we'll take a look at that too. So usually I get straight into it, but I'm not going to do that today. I'm going to twist it round and say, what do you guys think of aliens before we start? Throw straight into the hot pot. Are you an alien?
Oh, that's like, I could talk, and we have talked at length about aliens and ET and extraterrestrials and extra land and angels and demons and interdimensional outer space aliens. It's a vast. I mean, in some cases, it's kind of almost open up to what you interpret them to be.
Well, as a Paleo American, I think we need to get rid of all illegal aliens, started with the date of 1742.
Okay, bye.
Yeah, you can't do that. We have the same problem here. It's like,
or should I be more appropriate and say Biden?
Oh no, 1442. Columbus sailed the ocean blue. Okay, 1612, Plymouth Rock. No, I am a fanatic about aliens, extraterrestrials, and UFOs because I have witnessed UFOs in my past 3 different times. And of course, I would have to say, as far as are we aliens, I would suggest to do the pinky test and look at your pinky and look at the tip of your pinky and how close is it to the tip of your ring finger. If there's a minimal gap or space, you're more of one of the original inhabitants of this Aki, as we call it. If you have a big gap that is down, almost to your middle knuckle, you're an alien.
Oh, no. Can we look at that? Yeah.
That's my formula.
All right. So can we measure that
So
again?
am I extraterrestrial, Luna? Am I extraterrestrial?
I'm trying to figure out that. Hang on, we'll just reassess what Mayte said. So my little finger and Jules, your ring finger, the first knuckle from your nail.
Right.
Right, the first knuckle from your nail. My little finger comes up to that.
Mine does too. My little finger comes up to the top knuckle.
Yeah. The first
knuckle. My pinky finger is just like halfway to the middle of the nail.
Yeah, but you're a bloke. Blokes' fingers are longer than they're shaped different to women. That's how
I've met many men. I'm sorry, entities that have a peni that have had a rather shorter pinky. Not their peni, their pinky. Pinky finger.
They might have been aliens.
Yeah.
No, actually, I have seen
phalanges, to be scientific.
I don't know how you can tell, because they, like, across the board, they say people with certain bloods are aliens, people with fingers and that, aliens. I've seen people with pixie ears, man. You know them ears. What do they call them? Fairy ears. You know, the real pointy ones. Yeah, I've seen them like that, and I've looked at them and gone, "Oh, have you gone and actually got a pair of ears and had them surgically put on there to look like that?" But they actually look like them ears. And I look at them and go, "Were you a fairy or an elf in one of your last life, or are you still one? You never know." But I have seen people in my life that I look at them, I know they're not human straight away. There's just it's like a giant bell going boing that says they are not human.
You need to get a different bell if your bell goes boing.
It does. It goes boing.
And we talked about bells last
week. So it filters through all my layers in my head, because there's been times where I've seen stuff and I've been with someone else and we're rationally trying to talk it away, and I've stopped the conversation when the boing's got to a certain period and hit the top layer of my being, and I've gone, seriously now, what we saw came up out of the ground. It wasn't flying in the air, so it couldn't be any of the above we were talking about, and brought myself back to true reality. But I have seen people in true reality and they are not human, man, not like you or me. Well, I'm starting to wonder about everybody now.
Well, I mean, basically nobody has really seen me, so I could just be the AI.
I've seen you. I'll vouch for that. I've seen Nase on camera.
Well, it could always have been CGI.
It could have been someone else. Look, I've got to stop the show. My brother's here. I'm going to drop him a link, because he needs to be part of this, and it's his birthday.
Yamadani, happy birthday.
Happy birthday. Oh, can I drop a link? Hang on. Am I going to be able to drop the technical stuff?
Brother John or Brother Donnie?
Brother Donnie. Oh, no, it's
Sweet.
the wrong one. How do you get rid of a link after you've put it in?
Where'd you drop it at?
Oh, man. Undo. There we go. That might work. Now, sorry, everybody, interrupt the show, but it's I got it. And he's on my brother. Jump in if you wish. Your birthday. Are we allowed to sing happy birthday? sing a different little All right, where was I? Happy birthday, my brother. Yeah, I've seen people that aren't human, man. I remember the first one I saw on TV was back in the 90s. And someone I know was watching a show, and I walked in the room and I put my head over and watched what they were watching, and then saw this woman, and I'm pointing at them going, look at them, they're not human, can't you tell, you can just tell they had a wig on and everything, you could tell. Anyway, no one really listened to me until years later when it came out and other people started putting it on YouTube going, look, these people aren't human, look at this woman. It's hard to find now, but I could probably find it for a later show. Yeah, and they weren't human. What they were, I don't know, but they weren't like us. One of these things is not like the other one.
Well, with my fascination with it, instantly when I got all involved with my Paleo-American heritage, I would ask my elders, what do you think about extraterrestrials? And their answer is, what about them? It wasn't like, oh, they're not real, or maybe whatever. They're just like, what do you want to know? And we have many stories that maybe I should get some permission about sharing some of them, but we have no, I'm going to share this one. But yeah, we have many stories about extraterrestrials. If you look at the word or the etymology of the word Anishinaabe, and you break it apart, it means
I need a visual for that. Where's Sidfitch? He knows how to spell it. He can break it down for me.
Well, we're an oral tradition, so it doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
Anishinaabe. But if you break the word down, it means when the spirit was lowered to Aki, or the earth. And I found this incredible when I started reading, some of these other stories like Zachariah Stitchin and his Earth Chronicle series, where he talked about the Anunnaki. And the minute I read that word, I'm like, wow, Anunnaki, Anishinaabe. Syllabically, they match. And then when you look at the definition of Anunnaki, it means when man was lowered to the earth. And I'm just like, wow. But anyway, this is the story I was told. I have an elder that I go to for questions and stuff. And one time, geez, maybe about 16 years ago, we were at this Indian college educational gathering. And I asked him if I could take him out for lunch. And he's like, sure. So I took him out to lunch and I gave him some asema. And I said, I wanted to share my dream with you and get your opinion on it. So I told him the dream. And then after I told him the dream, he said, my family are the holders of a story about our ancestors from the heavens, from the skies, from another world. And periodically they come back to the planet. And usually they come back to the planet when Mother Earth goes through her major turmoil. And in the past, they came to the planet when Mother Earth was going to go through this cataclysmic event. And they're like, all right, everybody get on board. We need to get you off the planet. And so everybody's getting on the spaceships, and the grandmas were bringing their dogs. And they were like saying, oh, no, you can't bring your dogs. And then the grandmas would be like, we're not coming. And they're like, you got to come. And they're like, no, if we can't bring our dogs, we're not coming. And so there's a big discussion and argument. And eventually the grandmas are like, no, we're not coming. And so the entities said, all right, well, we'll do our best to try to make this event not so catastrophic. But we will be coming back again, and you won't have a choice in the matter. because Mother Earth goes through cycles. And periodically in those cycles, there are cataclysmic events that occurred, which can be caused by the sun, by the Earth itself, or by asteroids. It's just inevitable. It has happened thousands and thousands of times historically. So that means it can happen again. Tomorrow, maybe. 20 years from now, maybe. But there's plenty of proof of these craters around the world that at that impact event caused some major issues with the Earth.
Yep, it happens in a cycle.
Yep.
Happens in a cycle. Okay. So, yeah, I reckon.
Is Donnie there?
No, he dipped out. It's his birthday. I think he's at lunch. That's okay. Scared him. That's who I scared 3 people off.
And I agree with Joe. She says she's not going if her cat can't go. I'm not going unless I can't have my furry companions with me.
Ha!
I mean, they're more than just a cat to me. I mean, whether animals people have a connection with, it's a whole nother topic for another time. Put this one down in the logbook.
I reckon there's a big sign before you come here, and it says "Earth, enter at own risk."
Well, you know, there was that Twilight Zone episode about the cookbook.
Oh yeah, I love that show.
Yeah. And they were trying to decipher to serve man. And they were trying to decipher the book. And then just as all the people were getting on the spaceship, the assistant started screaming, "It's a cookbook!"
Yeah, it says how to serve men. They just took that part out. Yeah. Well, when I was a kid, I realised that. When I realised the predatory world that we live in, it's only natural that there's something bigger than us that would eat us too, right? Most of the predators we've got to a certain point, but obviously there's always a bigger fish. We can eat in the ocean. That's why I don't swim.
We taste like chicken.
Oh, I thought we taste like.
But now, I mean, if we taste like chicken, I mean, who's got what do they prefer? The one with the extra spices or the original recipe?
Well, that's what all the additives and preservatives are. They're more or less like sauteing us, or what's that called? When you put them, like flavoring. Like overnight, you put your meat in a.
Oh my God, where's Nano Girl at? This is a new moment.
Wait, I was just thinking about the interview because I've watched these interviews. That's how I know they're creepy, right? Even if it's a puppet, they're still creepy. And the first one's called Evolutionary Descent Interview from 1964, right? It's creepy when you hear what they got to say and you think of looking like them at the end. Well, you don't want to go where we're going. I don't think it's 100% real. I think it's like the cookbook we were just talking about. This is to serve men. They're actually missing the piece and covering it up, the how part. And when you see this interview, it goes for a while. I don't think I'll listen to the whole lot of it. I'll stop it and then you can tell me if you can listen to more or not. What was I saying now?
Roll that tape.
Roll that tape.
Oh, that beautiful bean footage.
I will. Hang on, let me do the magic. Press the button thing.
It's the one that says PLAY.
No, it's the one that says share the screen. Where do you want it? Which one do you want? Okay, here we go. People, here we go. Listen closely. Oh, it's got subtitles.
Okay, state line of origin. Okay, yesterday you told us you traveled, and I quote, thousands of light years to get here. Gosh. truth or the word or another leader. It is truth. When I fall off, usual. The truth is all. The truth is space. Elephants change oceans. So I take it aliens.
Could you understand that, Naysay? Hello?
I can't confirm or deny I understood what it was saying.
Oh, because it's got subtitles. We can read it out.
No, that's all right.
Oh, they'll keep playing it then.
Okay.
Just checking and making sure my guests are all comfortable.
Took over our future, right? We're human. Okay, so you evolved from us. So what are you doing here now? How? So, how about we concentrate on your time? Try me. Wait, so you know the meaning of life? What's the difference? So you know how the universe is created? So you've seen God? Okay, illuminate us. What happens when we die? Okay, so let me get this straight. There's no death, and we all experience each other's lives, right? Okay, so how was the universe created, and why is it so perfectly made for us? Moving on. Okay, so why do we destroy ourselves with nuclear war? Can you be more specific, please? Okay, one last thing. What about morality? What are you basing your morality on? I see. Okay, that's it. Thank you.
All right then. Do you want me to keep going?
Wow. Wow. Can we? No, I want you to keep playing, but can I say something?
Yes, that's why I stopped.
When he was saying that they evolved from us, I couldn't help but think Have you seen those pictures of the COVID babies? The ones that were from the early 2000s that were just super crawlers and had super strength, and they were different. And if you looked at their eyes, they had black eyes. And I'm just wondering, with this guy saying that he evolved from our future, with that gene therapy, we know what it's doing. And if it's changing things, it could be possible that could be us from the future.
Well, don't worry about your hair anymore, your makeup, or your clothes, because you won't need them, because you're going to end up looking like that. Oh, sorry, Naysay, it's a gnarly grey alien. Yeah. Did you understand what he was saying, Naysay?
No, it was a little challenging.
All right.
Well,
That's all
we're
right.
only about 5 minutes in. We can go back and I can read it to you. What he's saying.
No, I'm good.
We can read what I'll read out what I'll take the sound off and I'll read it out. All right. That might be the better way. I find it really creepy myself, to tell you the truth. There's something off about it.
Well, it's a really definitely poor audio recording, but it's from the 64. What do you expect?
Yeah. And they were talking about, just to up you on that, they say they were talking about the alien said that he's us from the future.
Yeah, there's been a lot of claims about that. The extraterrestrials are coming back, that they have the ability of time travel, and they're coming back to collect gene samples and whatnot, so they can bring it back and fix their gene pool. Kind of like the royal family brought Princess Diane in to kind of strengthen the gene pool a little.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah. There's a Star Trek movie. It's called Insurrection. That is really good one about, and it's very relevant of today if you pay attention to it. And forgive me for my ethnocentrism, but I have this book called American Genesis, and in the book he talks about how when Pangea was one huge large landmass, that America excuse me, was actually in the center of it.
That would make sense.
And a really good book, but it comes back to the whole, who knows? I can't wait for the extraterrestrials to come back and show us the deed for the planet and say, here, we own it.
This is why I think I have trouble with that, because they're already here. They've been here the whole time. It's like a rediscovery.
It's like when a landlord finally gets fed up with its tenant and evicts them.
Yep.
So they're going to come back, and because they have a bunch of people here all over the place paying attention, taking notes. Myself, I don't know, what they're taking down about how the people are doing horribly with each other, and that at some point they're going to be called up to the council and say, okay, what was your finding? Well, I appreciate you put me on the planet as a blind, crippled up Native American and stuff, and seeing how well everybody takes care of me. But on a scale of 1 to 10, I'll give them a 2.5.
Yeah, I'm sure you're not the only one that has a complaint like that. It's a bit different, but I'm sure I've said things. Yeah. Anyway,
but we've been separated. Well, yeah, we can go on and on about it, but we've been so divided and conquered that
I know.
It'd be too easy for something to happen.
The one thing I did agree that the entity being did say, the other, I'll call them the others, but they look like dark ones. Anyway, one thing he did say was that politics and all that, the dogma is what causes war in people. I totally agree with that. There's certain ways of our lives that we have habits in our lives, all of us, like the way the system runs, the world runs, that it causes separation, it causes conflict, and we need to get rid of them. We need to get rid of all the things that separate us and cause conflict, but still retain our individualities, and that's where forgiveness, and he mentioned the word compassion, and I totally understand that. The thing with this interview, there's like, I'd say he reckons they're us in the future, right? If that's true, what are humans normally like? They lie and they cheat to get what they want, right? And they'll suck the life out of other beings to get where they're going, because so there's that side of a human, and then there's the loving, compassionate side. So this is why you make up your own mind. And is it a puppet?
Well, if my memory serves me correct, that over 90% of the entities on this planet are parasitic in nature. And we're talking all entities from bacteria, fungus, viruses, to birds, plants, animals, and especially humans.
Okay. 300%. Okay. All right. Well, we'll finish this. I just had to stop it because it's getting creeped out. Okay. I feel like going outside and talking to the crowd now. All right.
Get your blankie.
Get my blankie. Yeah, no, I've actually got a little kangaroo stuff. Jules, do you want to read it out?
Yeah, I can read it out.
All right. I'll put it back on full and I'll play it. I'll shut the sound out because it is a bit harrowing. And here we go. 1, 2, 3.
This can you go back just a couple of seconds, because it'll probably make more sense if I read the alien and you read the other guy, because there won't be any kind of distinction of who's who.
Well, just let the audio go, and while the alien's talking, just read his stuff.
We could do that.
My suggestion. Do what you need.
This is one of.
Can you speak? Or wow, are you scared of me? Because you should be. Okay, so you say you're from the future and an evolutionary descendant of humans. You also say you're a different species. So, which one is it? Are you a descendant of humans or not?
We are evolutionary descendants of sapiens, but we no longer breed with your kind. Therefore, we are a new species.
Then how do you know English? Answer me. If you don't answer, I'll administer another radioscope over you until your system collapses. Do you understand? Now, how do you speak English?
Learning your language is essential to understanding your species.
So you just picked up English, just like that, because you're so smart, right?
Relatively, yes.
Right. So you said you know the origin of the universe, but you did not provide an explanation. So I ask you again, how was the universe created?
You are not capable of comprehending or accepting the truths of existence.
Answer the question.
The universe was not created.
Really? But you can't create something out of nothing.
That is
Sure
correct.
is. Only a creator can make something from nothing.
That is incorrect.
You just contradicted yourself.
Nothing by definition does not exist.
So,
Since nothing cannot exist, what's left is existence. Existence is infinite. It has no end, no beginning, and therefore no creator.
wait, but you said there's an origin to the universe.
Yes,
I caught you in a lie.
this universe is not existence. It is an infinitely small part of existence.
Right, so now you're talking nonsense. Again, how was the universe created so miraculously?
This universe is a spontaneous event, and inevitably within the eternity of existence. Every event can, will, and has happened, including this universe. There are an infinite number of universes. Virtually all cannot harbor so-called life. This universe is perchance stable and has the occasional capacity to harbor so-called life.
So, life just happened, right?
In this universe, yes. Life, as you call it, is inevitable. All of this universe's physical properties.
So, are you telling me we're just random?
Yes. This universe is so-called life.
How so?
Life on this, every world can be destroyed at any time by a multitude of random events. What would you term supernova, solar flare, asteroid impacts?
So, the universe doesn't care if we live or die?
Correct.
I don't believe that for a second. We're more than just random.
As I said, you are not capable of accepting the truths of existence.
So, if we're just random, then there's no meaning to the universe.
That is correct.
So, if there's no meaning in the universe, then what's the point of living?
There is meaning.
You just contradicted yourself again.
Meaning lives in the mind.
No, you can't live a full life. You can't live a life at all. Do you think that meaning is all made up?
Your species conjures meaning, but operates under false belief that meaning is mystic. It is not.
So, what is meaning?
Meaning is what you make it.
Okay, moving on. You said we humans will die as a species. So, tell me, when does the nuclear war start? So, tell me, when does the nuclear war start?
It is not my place to change history.
What? No. Yes, sir. Thank you. Okay, so, now, tell me, when does the nuclear war start?
Just over 1/2 century from this point in time.
Okay. By whom?
Nuclear war will begin this country.
Really, boss? How?
A human male will briefly rule your country. and will be responsible for the destruction of most of your species.
So it's Eli now. Oh, well,
Yes.
great. So just tell me his name and we'll go.
I cannot. The name was removed from our historical record. We cannot allow altering history through murder.
Of course. All right, so just tell me what he does.
He will weaken your democratic mechanism by appealing to your species' most primitive instincts: fear, tribalism, political and religious dogma. There will be international condemnation in response. He will over a preemptive nuclear strike. This will proliferate into global nuclear war.
So don't blow up.
The initial exchange only ends a few million human lives.
Only a million lives.
It is the resulting radiation that would kill most of your kind. My species is the evolutionary result.
Okay, so how do we stop this?
Protect your democracy from political and religious dogma. Protect it from rejection of objective fact. At this point in time, your democracy is stable. This will not be the case in half a century.
So if we stop this lunatic from blowing us up, we'll be fine, right?
No,
But you just said is that if we stop him, we won't be destroyed.
there is another threat.
And what's the...
To be continued.
Oh, that was cruel. Hey.
It was cruel, but we got to talk about this.
All right, hang on. Oh, here we are. Okay, well, I found that difficult to sit in because as a compassionate being, the discomfort in the interrogation, even whether it be a good being or a bad being, is up to your own discretion, but the discomfort that poor being went through really upset me. I've picked up poisonous animals and made them feel comfortable, and they loved me back for it. So, you know, I don't know. That's why I asked you to read it out, Jules. I've watched it. I found it very uncomfortable. And the other one I got to, I'll only show you a bit of that because that's even more uncomfortable, but it looks more like a puppet. So, okay. No say, Jules, you.
Well, okay. So with this particular, what we just watched, 64 was the date.
Yeah.
So and he said is a threat of nuclear war in about half a century.
Yeah, I'll just confirm that.
Give or take a few years. That's kind of right now.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
And our democracy is in shambles.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very divided. It's barely polarized. There is a lot of political and a lot of religious dogma within our democracy. So it's like interesting. And they did. I mean, it was cruel to treat him like that.
And I thought I was uncomfortable about presenting this show, but I did it anyway. And listening, somehow there was a little voice telling me from upstairs, maybe it's good that everyone saw this. So, yeah. G'day, channel about nothing. G'day, Cannabis. I'm just reading out the chat room now because I'm distracting myself because I was so uncomfortable with that interview. G'day, Joey. G'day, Jules. G'day, Johnny. Anyway, all right, I'm going to shut up now and news can continue. I want to know what you think of it. It's Renzo. Hey, Renzo. Heads are cool. Oh, look, I can see you, Nace. Careful.
What? Oh, I was trying to unmute the microphone.
Yeah, I can see. Yeah. So, what did you hear of that, and what did you think?
Well, it's totally plausible. You know, I would give it some weight because we just don't know.
True.
We don't know, and it kind of makes some sense. And I really liked how when he just basically smacked the guy upside the head with, you entities need to find meaning with everything. And that was one thing that my people were like, you know, it's like, just accept it. Just accept the fact that you're a living, breathing entity, and that's it. You know, what's the point? To exist, to experience. You know, I mean, yeah, to me it seems pretty simple. It has its highs, it has its lows. There's moments when you're content, and when you find that balance, that's seemingly, you know, not bad at all to be, because it's hard to be positive all the time. Nobody really cares to be negative. Well, I can't say nobody, you know, but if we can find content and balance, then hey, everything's smooth sailing.
With you. I'm just messaging. So, hey, Luna, I got a question. Oh, never mind. You just answered it. I'm on it.
Yeah, get on to that. I feel like replaying the whole thing now, but I can't sit through it because it is a lot to swallow. And if that's what we're going to look like in the end, I think we seriously have to think about something. And if it's a puppet show and it's a trick to make us think that way, well, that's why you'll present it. Make your own choice up.
No, I mean it's definitely one of those that makes you think, because it would be more easy to dismiss if you were showing this maybe 10 years ago, 20 years ago. But now with current events that are going on, I'm in Naysay's camp.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing too that we've been fighting or dealing with our entire existence is that social conditioning has set the standards of what we're supposed to look like. You know, I theorized, you know, one of my conspiracy theories is that the whole thing of making everybody wear masks was to get people accustomed to just looking at each other's eyes. Because if these extraterrestrials come down here and say, hey, here we are, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to freak the bleep out, because they won't even be able to handle these entities that look so different from us.
True that.
Speaking of extraterrestrials, it just made me remember, did you hear about that scientific researchers were claiming that octopi are not of this world?
Yeah.
Yeah, there was an article a few days ago that was floating around, but I never did click on it and read it because we had talked about this a couple of years ago.
Well, that's that whole thing when we talk about the randomness, you know, where something from a single cell says, I'm going to be a giraffe. Something else from a single cell says, I'm going to be a jellyfish. Something else from a single cell says, I'm going to be an ant. You know, the plethora of different characteristics of all these entities on the planet are so far apart, you know. But the one thing that I read in the Zachariah Stitchin books is that if we were actually human beings, if we were actually from this planet you would think within our composition of particulates, we would be of the abundant particulates of the earth. However, most of the particulates in the human body are very rare to this planet.
Sorry, I'm distracted.
So that in itself, makes me ponder about, are we really of this planet? Because the thing that is so hard to swallow all the time for me is, how is it that we humans, and I really don't care to associate with the label of human. I'll stick with Anishinaabe. But how did these human beings on this planet devastate it so badly?
Well, for me, it goes back to those from which came from above, the Anunnaki. And I my opinions, my thoughts only, that it's whether they are responsible for it or not, but for me, I feel like there's just been this control plan for thousands and thousands of years. I mean, only now are we discovering that history isn't what we thought it was.
Well, just over the short history of America, look at what we've done to America in the last, 250 years, where we've practically deforested the entire country.
Yeah.
Comparatively, when the explorers first got here, and that in itself is just, just heartbreaking.
Well, I got to say, when watching that clip, he looks like a different version of E.T., that movie. Because E.T.'s neck was a bit longer, his head was flatter, but it kind of looks like that.
Oh, no.
Yeah,
And
E.T. was more of an Eden.
I think they made him cute so we'd accept it.
Yeah.
Because he's not a cute-looking fella, you got to admit that. Not from our perspective. He might be gorgeous to one of his own kind. But yeah, I don't know. Like I said, there's something about it. I'm iffy. I can detect an area of hidden deception. So it hasn't got my 100% approval, and it could be a puppet. It could be anything these days. You got to look. The other thing is, did you know when you made that comment about the octopi? Which way do you say it? Octopi, octopus? Yeah.
Octopi
Anyway.
is plural.
Yeah.
Depends on if it's a party of octopi or octopuses.
And the cuttlefish, they got the difference about them. They actually got copper in their blood, and everything on Earth, bar three things.
What do they have in their blood?
Copper.
Again?
Oh, come on. The coppers are coming. Look out! No, the copper.
Copper?
Copper.
Hey, what do you need? You looking for a copper? I know a bunch of coppers.
Oh my God, the gangster killed our friend Alan. It's been so long since we heard from Alan. I forget what he sounds like.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so the cuttlefish, the octopus, and Rh negative people all have one thing in common. They have copper in their blood.
Well, we all have copper in our blood.
Yeah, but the Rh people have got more copper than normal, so they're iron-based. Everyone else, everything on the Earth's iron-based, but the octopus and the cuttlefish are copper-based. And Rh negative blood is like a merge of both.
Yeah, copper is actually essential to the human body.
So you can check that out. That's a scientific fact. You can go and check it. Anyway, they're the only three things on this earth that are like that. I actually really like octopus. And cuttlefish, I haven't really met one. I've met octopus, but I haven't met a cuttlefish. The only cuttlefish I met were the ones I gave my birds to keep their beaks sharp when I was a kid.
Yeah, I
That's
had
what, that's what I
relation-
automatically think of a cuttlefish as.
All right.
I was going to say I had a relationship with a cuttlefish, but they were just wham bam, thank you, sir, and left. Did not want to cuddle.
All right, this next clip really doesn't have much talking, I don't think, and it's cruel. The being's dying, and it's a lot darker, so it looks more like a puppet because everything's dark around it. But
Well,
this
you know, allegedly, ET really did happen. The government really did capture an Eben and all those guys who were coming for ET. They knew he was here, and the whole speak and spell he did was trying to phone home. But what nobody knows is that he actually did call home and he died here.
Yeah, right.
And
Well,
the Eben is based off of
EB.
the Eben, EBEN, extra biological.
No, it should be EBI for extraterrestrial biological, or no, EBE. Sorry, my bad. Extraterrestrial biological entity,
Yeah.
according to William
Dang
Cooper.
it, now I want to watch. I want to watch ET tonight. Roxy, you want to watch ET?
oh no. All right, this one I'm only going to play like a half a minute or something because it's scattered and then there's talking in between by other people, and that's not the point. The point is the being itself. So I'll just.
All right, if I'm going back to my narrating bit, I gotta clear the workspace.
No, you don't need to. This is really short, and I don't even know if there's any talk on after. I watched this one ages ago. This one's terrible because, like I said, the poor being's dying. So here we go. All right, I'll shut up for a second. Here we go. He doesn't really talk. This is quite no one. I'll just come through it. Alright, so all you can see is the alien in the dark there. So he's different to the other one, but he's got round eyes and not his shoulders are a lot smaller. His head's
It's just footage of like a I'll let you.
No, there's nothing really there.
Because this one it's labeled as Area 51, the alien interview 1997. I didn't see or hear this guy talking. There's no subtitles that go across the board. It's just footage, and I see no body. All I see is a head. It looks like this could be a projection on the wall because it just doesn't look right to me.
No, I don't think so. This one looks kind of fake.
Between this one and the other one has more credibility.
Yeah, I reckon. The other one's scarier. Maybe that's why it's more, because it could be real. Who knows? This one, see, it just shows you. It doesn't say much. It starts to cough and splutter. And that's about all. I think it's pretty cruel. Yeah, hang on.
Appearance and by Vic.
Yeah, they're just yarning. So, yeah, I just wanted to show you that one. Is in comparison to the other one. What's he doing there? You can tell I'm not technologically trained.
You're doing good.
Yeah. So yeah, that was just in comparison to the first one, because the first one actually spoke and everything. This one just coughs and splutters. but it's at a later date. And like I said, it's a different shape. It's a different being. Because I have a different view to most people on the others and the shape of the place we live in. But that's my own personal point of view. So that's why I present these things. And we do have a friend in the chat room that's really interested in what we're putting up, and I put the link in there so they can join us, and hopefully we'll have someone else join us soon, because I'm presenting all the material now, and if you miss it, tough luck. Go back and watch the show. All right.
See, he wasn't kidding. Look at them alien fingers Naysay has.
Show me again, Naysay.
I saw him grab something.
Yeah, no, it's an alien hand. Oh, there's things of alien hands. If I wasn't so tired yesterday, sorry everyone, I had a very busy day yesterday, so I did this last minute this morning. If I had done it last night, I would have got pictures and slides of alien handprints and stuff like that, that I've seen. Well, I don't even like calling them aliens, the others. I'd rather call them the others. And there's good and bad, just like we are. But those first ones we saw, they're more like us, so I tend not to trust them. And they even say they're us, so I tend not to trust them.
The sphere.
At all.
Put the soup out in the garage.
Oh, we're having soup for lunch, and I say.
See, I keep messing up this mute button.
Soup for lunch. Okay.
No, I broke my fast on Wednesday.
Oh, congratulations.
I did my winter solstice fast, and we made turkey wild rice soup, and it was delicious. And I've had 3 bowls today, and I'm feeling like bloated. But yummy, yummy.
Cool. Oops. All right, so what we're going to have next is Antarctica. Unfortunately, there's no talking. And we'll have to describe what we're looking at, and good luck. But before I go on, I've been keeping an eye on what they tell you, these little machines they send out into space onto other places, and they find stuff.
Before we embark on this voyage to Antarctica,
yeah.
Have you guys heard about this zombie virus?
What? We're going to have a little break between the aliens and the Antarctica, so we're just going to yarn a bit because.
Well, I mean, they're finding things that have been around for 50,000 years, coming from Antarctica, and it's going into medical industrial. It's out there. I mean, I news articles. I've heard a couple people mention it, and zombie virus is going to be a thing. And I'm predicting that it's going to be something coming in a few years. Can't say when.
Well, I find that a bit conflicting. When I was young and they started cutting down the really, really giant trees in the rainforests around the world and digging around Antarctica and taking core samples, but the trees mostly, I was really worried because I knew that part of a tree's job, if you can imagine at certain periods of time when there's germs and stuff across the world, it gets pushed down into the earth and gets buried by dirt and that, and the tree roots hold it all together, and nature has a wonderful way of transmuting things, and it transmutes all these things and holds them fast, so what's on top is all clean and pure. And when we go digging around into the earth, we're releasing things. We could be releasing viruses that are millions of years old.
Well, that's the same thing with Antarctica, that as the ice is melting in certain areas, there's spores, because they're finding brand new bacterias and funguses and viruses in the core samples that they're taking from Antarctica. And of course, you know, the medical industrial complex isn't going to waste a moment to check that out.
And then on the other hand, in this day and age, our diets are really bad, and certain people are ingesting and putting things in their body that are making sick.
Marinade. That's the word I was looking for earlier. We're eating all these different marinades.
Marinade.
So the aliens are going to...
Got more marinade than Lowry's.
Yeah, so there's a combination. Is it actually from digging things up that are old, or is it from what we're doing today? So I think it's a bit of both. And before we go on, because we're going to take a small break between the aliens in Antarctica, I want to welcome our sister Renzo. G'day, Renzo. Long time no see, no talk. How you going, my sister?
Hey, Renzo.
Hello.
My avatar is on
Jules.
point tonight.
Oh, I hear myself. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so happy I had that on because I wouldn't have realized how loud I was earlier when I was clapping. By the way, I apologize. Hold on. Can I hear y'all now?
Yeah. Testing. 1, 2, 3.
And
you
Renzo, do me a
somebody-
favor and drop
Nope, I
about
can't hear now.
20%.
This is embarrassing. Thank you for having me on.
That's all right. It's good to see you again.
I need to figure out why y'all are muted on here.
None of us are talking.
Yeah, we're not talking. Can you hear us?
Because I'm not logged in, maybe? Nope.
Can you hear us?
What? Come on, computer.
Can you hear me? Do you care?
Do no one run to the sound of gun? Now all the planes are empty.
Uh-oh.
Keep playing with the knobs. We're just going to keep talking about stuff.
Yeah, you're right, Renzo. We'll keep talking. Yeah, so viruses, yeah, it could be from the old. It could be from now. That's interesting. And there are changes in the whole world. Things have been revealed. The ice is melting here and growing there. What I find interesting when we're going to look at the 1912 expedition, and it can be, again, if it's real, it's real. If it's not, it's not. Make your own mind up. Obviously, there wasn't as much ice. And when I was poking around, someone did say that the army was up there squirting water on all these things to keep them under ice so no one could see them. All things are possible. All things are possible. How you going there, Renzo? Can you hear us yet?
Renzo's muted.
Renzo. Unmute
yourself.
Unmute your guest because
Hello?
We hear you.
Yes.
Hello? Can you hear us now?
Yes, I figured it out.
Okay. So we're having a break between the last, what we just saw and what we're going to see.
And Jules, with that nice tasty cannabis, went on to zombie apocalypse or zombie virus.
Yeah, the zombie virus, I reckon, is concocted inside the body. And how would it get there? Ooh, imagine that. I wonder. But I think concocted inside the body, and it has a trigger mechanism. And when they trigger that mechanism, you will have an instant zombie virus. But I don't think they'll eat brains. I think they'll just be docile, like zombies. Like when in your everyday life, when someone's watching TV or something, or you're talking to them and they're staring at something, here in Australia we go, oh look, they're being like a zombie because they're just sitting there going, and everything's oblivious to everything, right? That's what I think they're going to be like, the zombie. I hope so. If not, one of my older daughters has totally upped me on zombie attacks and what they can do and they can't do, because she used to watch zombie movies.
I used to watch Walking Dead.
Boomerang so I can start practicing.
Yes.
Apparently they can't climb.
Like Renzo just said, all the Walking Deads, all the Walking Dead books, every zombie movie you could think of, I've seen.
I've had so many dreams about zombie apocalypses because of The Walking Dead. It actually got to the point, like, they were terrifying at first, but it got to the point where, like, I got kind of used to them, and I was like, Rick and company would be there. And actually, one of the dreams, we were hiding up in trees.
Wow.
Yeah.
So did you see the clip we put on, Renzo, with the
The second one I saw. The second one.
Oh, the one before that was a poor being that was pretty.
Yeah, the one before that. Definitely go back and check. Or Luna, can you play? You could play it again on double speed.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I could.
Because I remember y'all said y'all thought that one was real when you were watching the second
Well,
one.
I mean,
Well, just show
Or more
it.
credible.
it's more. It is more credible.
Yeah.
Play a
Sorry,
short
not-
bit of it so she can see the individual.
Oh, okay. I got it.
She works hard for the money. Dun, dun, dun.
Hang on, I got it.
PLAY.
So hard for it, honey. Dun, dun, dun.
I got to find it now because I took it off. It's stupid. They told me not to take it off. Never mind. But in my haste and being tidy, I was cleaning up the computer screen and dusting it off and took it off.
So Renzo, share with everybody your page.
My page.
Stream.
Oh.
Stuff, Renzo.
Well, right now I've mainly just been active on YouTube and D Live, but I haven't been very active on YouTube lately just because I like to play music and I don't want to have to deal with copyright. Oh yeah, and Twitch, of course, because sometimes it's more convenient to stream on Twitch than D Live. But here is the YouTube channel about nothing. And wait, that's my old chat. Hold on, that's not the right chat. I was actually just streaming, and then I was like, hold on, y'all, because I was waiting for you to stream, Luna. And then when I stream on D Live, it's not real stream. Most of the time I'm just drooling into a cup playing a video game. But yeah, that's kind of what we were doing. And then I saw you were live, and I was like, hold on, y'all. But I put your link up in my Discord and stuff. So.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
So this was the clip that we were looking at. It's a bit lengthy. But there's an interview with this being, and he says stuff. He says he's from Earth.
The future, like Luna.
Future, yeah. I found it a bit unsettling. That's why I don't want to watch it again.
Oh, like there's an entity or something.
Yeah,
Or at least
check 'em
that's
out.
happened to me before. Where I get out, I've learned something, and I was like, okay, I don't want to look at that again.
Yeah. I don't want to.
Can you see him?
You can see.
I saw him. It kind of like just looked. I don't really like as far as like whether or not it's real. But
See,
the power
in
of
some-
Christ compels you. I apologize. I felt.
Yeah, that's how I
that.
felt, Renzo. I felt like I was
And Luna gets it.
it was a situation where trying to explain how you just know something and then you go with your gut.
Yeah.
That's like
Yeah.
with this.
Don't
Something
read
is-
a book by its
Something is telling
cover.
you that this is creepy. This is not good. That's your instinct.
Mhm.
That's your gut. That's you knowing that this could be a shred of truth, a nugget of truth, nothing of truth. But there's something about it that that's got you.
It's something
Surely.
different. It's something I don't understand. I'm scared of it.
Well, I'll tell you, one time that happened when I was just going through YouTube and there was somebody with the bubonic plague mask doing like a death dance thing, and I was just like, turn this off right now. And I like used to not even think anything of it. I remember we had a masquerade a few years earlier, like a house party masquerade, and my boyfriend at the time assigned me to go pick out the masks, and I picked him out a bubonic plague mask. Oh, and then one year I got him for Halloween a nun thing. See, I didn't think anything, Now the nun mask I might get. That's not quite too blasphemous to me. Anyway, it's all relative.
I went as the Pope once.
That doesn't offend me. You didn't go as Baphomet, did you?
No, I couldn't get anybody to help me make the costume.
Well,
Next year.
No, didn't Elon Musk go as bad from that? Well, that we could go and talk about. Go down a. Uh, yeah, he's suspicious. I learned the term sus over the summer. It's short for suspicious.
Yeah.
I was like, I like this word, sus.
Oh, it's one of those new hipsters buzzwords.
We say it here all
Yeah.
the time in Australia. That's an old word here. It's sus. They're a bit sus.
Yeah. See?
I've still got to get.
We've gotten that lazy that we can't say suspicious.
We say it's cut short. We added an O on the end, or a ing, or a just cut short, or something totally opposite to what it is. It's called. Yeah, I've got to get a heap of Aussies sitting down talking just normal and not knowing that I'm taping them and get used to hear it. It's really funny if you can understand it. Anyways, so yeah, I agree with you, Renzo. It's creepy. There's something off about it. I didn't actually want to present it, but then when I did, something upstairs said it's good that you did, even though it's ugly. So. And I'm sorry, beings, if you really exist, that I'm calling you ugly, but
and I'm demented. Would you send me that link at your leisure?
I will. I can actually post them all.
No, it's not leisure anymore. It's liege.
Yeah, true.
I feel like the overall discussion with this has been. I agree, Luna. I feel like Creator was definitely. I don't know, but like. It all checks out, but I'm just a crazy person, so I don't.
Well, you know, when you listen to this entity, part of me reasoned with what he said about the whole thing about creation. You know, when they're like saying there is no nothing.
Oh yeah, but I agree with that as well.
And so if there is no nothing, then it's already here in existence. Mm-hmm. And in that existence, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I pulled up the part where it says nature is the objective of reality. I'm kind of flicking through it without playing it.
Well, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to know that.
Well, you're the only one closest to a rocket scientist here.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It doesn't take a rocket scientist, I don't think, but I'm no rocket scientist. So.
Yeah. So, and I agree. There's some things that he says, or he says, she says. Well, we don't know what. We just presume it's a he. Actually makes sense. But isn't that what a trickster does? They mix real good stuff with bad stuff and trick you because you can get so cozy.
That's exactly what they do.
Yeah, my first instinct. There's something off, and I've been practicing that lately because I'm a sucker.
I mean, just to play role games here. What if this entity is speaking truth?
He probably is. I mean, like the devil can tell the truth. It's not
like if you were some from another time, another dimensions, and you were being questioned, there would be no reason to lie.
But you know what? It could be truth that's being used because, like, if sometimes information overload, it can be too much for somebody to handle, and like something like this, if it could really scare somebody who's really high, or maybe not. I mean, think about somebody who's schizophrenic and sees this; it could trigger something.
The Brookings Institute, when they get together and they have their brainstorming on possible occurrences, they said that they would not inform the American people that it would be in the best interest for the continuity of government not to let them know that extraterrestrials exist, because the amount of Christians in America would immediately see them as demons and just start blasting away.
Yeah. I heard it was just that they would end up like killing themselves or something, because I have heard stories of Christians killing themselves because they think that it's so. But honestly, and this is just how I was raised, because daddy, mommy, does the Bible say aliens can exist? And you're like, well, the Bible doesn't say anything about aliens. They could, or they may not. So honestly, and I believe that you don't need to be a Christian to believe that they might be alien or
Well,
demons.
the shining ones have written themselves in the Bible.
I think that you
Yeah,
could
there's tons of subversive stuff in the Bible that nobody acknowledges, I feel like. I don't even know who those people are, but I believe it.
I think you could technically argue that Jesus was an alien,
Yeah.
not of this earth.
Nah, he was well this is what I was just taught. So I don't really know. But this is what I believe. And I guess I identify as Christian even though, as with every group of people, there's embarrassing Christians out there. I acknowledge that.
Extremists in all groups.
Yeah, exactly. And, also like zealots. I don't like that.
Anyway.
But yeah, anyway, so
whatever you believe that gets you to the right place, that's compassionate, full of love, keeps you full of light, and keeps you on high vibration, do it. Like lick the lizard, like Macy says.
And that's what belief in Jesus does for me.
I'm looking at some of the things that he's saying in here, this being, and it said death is a human construction. Well, we know that because we know that this vehicle is temporary and that our actual essence, our pure spirit of who we actually are, lives on forever. But then it says there's no creator. See, I cough that up because I know damn well there's a creator and nature proves it.
No, you believe.
Well, I guess the same could be said that we believe there's not nothing. Just because this guy just comes up and says there's not nothing doesn't necessarily mean that's not nothing. This could all just be nothing. If this is nothing, then this nothingness.
I believe that Naso is an actual person and not an AI, but I know that creator exists. There's a difference.
Right, but what you know, well, I would premise it.
What you know is what you know.
Well, absolutely. I have no argument with that. But what you feel and what you believe is different from what is true.
But not necessarily different.
And what is true is different.
Extrapolate on that.
It's all different. Because what is true is different from what you know. Because that's our individual pathways coming there. Because what I experience, what you experience, what Renzo and Jules and you out there experience is all slightly different. So it makes us know different things.
It's like this, I call it this objective reality is the reality that we perceive, that even, the person most in touch with reality, there's going to be a little bit of error. And that's just quantum mechanical. And I just, I have faith in quantum mechanics just as much as I have faith in creator. But one of the reasons I have such faith in creator is just the science backs it up.
Well, there is no 100%. There is no scientific absolute.
You know what? I realise that this is kind of a trick because it's tricked us into separating into.
Oh no, I agree. There's,
so it says in every instance of so-called life, you, me, him, separated by what you call death.
But isn't most of that a learned behavior?
Yeah, his essence, yes.
He's just saying things.
It's so perfectly made for us, each with different physical properties. This is just to catch everyone up. We exist in a universe that does support. I should have done it this way in the first place. So why do we destroy ourselves with nuclear war?
Because we're human beings.
Why did he particularly say that? Because we actually, as individual beings, destroy ourselves with many things.
Self-sabotage.
Yeah, we do. We've got things that we ingest. Things we
knowingly ingest stuff that is not beneficial for optimal health.
And then we bombard each other with negative thoughts and drama and all that other negative shit that's existing. Mm-hmm. Then we've got populations that have no food and basic needs in the world, and they're uncomfortable and suffering sickness because of it. Then we've got spiritual part being tainted and there's a bit of a war there, like destroyed just by nuclear war. I don't know.
Well, this is where I always go back to magnetism, where there's a positive a neutral and a negative. And the universal challenge is the struggle to find balance. And you can't continue on without that oscillation between positive, neutral, and negative, because that causes momentum. And momentum is needed for our existence.
Yeah. So what does that, how does that, what, and actually I really appreciate what you just said, Nesse, because that's precisely true with the, equilibrium and momentum, change in momentum and force and oscillating about an equilibrium point. That that is, like kind of the force, one of the reasons I love Star Wars. Yeah.
That's one of the ways that I explain, what we call Gitchimanadu, which another word for it is the greatest unknown. So if you think about a sphere, as I talk about all the time, or a circle, if on one pole we denote it as negative, and the other pole we denote as positive, and the center is neutral, then that entire sphere is the unknown, or the creator, or God, because God created it all. He created the positive and the negative.
I believe he's the reason 1 + 1 is 2. I call him the great mathematician, the great coder, the great architect. I like creator, though. That really just kind of encapsulates it all. I gotta let the dog out, y'all. I'll be right back.
Talk about dogs.
Who let the dogs out? Renzo.
Really
Renzo.
quick, fast
though. He reckons dogma is our downfall. Now, ignorant little me, uneducated. Well, I am educated, but I never understood the word dogma. Like when I look at it, I see dog man.
Luna, you're one of the most knowledgeable people I know. Yeah. As far as just like information, like you could teach a college class. People over here would pay money to listen to, like,
I got the University of Life jumper on because I graduated from the University of Life, if honest.
The University of Luna.
I claim I went to the School of Hard Knocks.
Yeah, that's part of University of Life. So dogma. It says
dogma. I went to the School of Hard Knocks.
Oh, non-computability factor. Really fast. Nesse, look that up one day. Tell me what you think.
Properly. What is dogma? I know what politics and all that is, but what's dogma?
Dogma is when you are rigidly caught up in your belief system with absolute resistance of looking at any other possibility.
Okay, so that says a not flexible being, one that can't grow beyond itself because it's so stiff. And I get it. I met people like that.
A great movie, by the way, by Kevin Smith.
True, I've met people like that I didn't even bother really talking to them because I realised no matter what I said wouldn't break this shell that they had, and they were so rigid. Anyway. So can you be more? No, we don't want that. Political and religious dogma. Oh, I get it now. Ding! So you just watched me learn something.
You had an epiphany.
Yeah, I just see things different, right? I see things in a totally different world. I live in a totally different world. And yeah, I see things different.
That's the whole beauty of it all. You live in your world, I live in mine, and then there are moments when timelines overlap and we spend time together.
Why don't they just say really stubborn, rigid people that don't see beyond their own world and won't acknowledge others, obviously, because if they don't acknowledge others, when you acknowledge others, there's a little bridge there that happens, and it has to be met honorably between two energies, and you can't not escape that because we live in a place where there's millions of life forms, and because of that you have to have this little bridge of peace. And he said the word before, so this is what I mean. That's words aren't true, but he says words that aren't true as well. So anyway, that's me. I'm Raven.
I think the bridge that you're speaking of, that's kind of like a connection to me.
Well, we connect. As soon as you look at something, you don't even have to look at it. As soon as you go near it, a magnetic thing, Nase knows about this, a magnetic thing happens between you and that object or being, even objects it happens with, but mostly beings are better because they're alive and moving. And there's automatically a connection. You've got to honour that connection. No one even knows it exists. They just walk around the world bumping into things and having reactions and actions from that bridge being built. And it can be built with the smallest thing, an ant. Anyway, that's my world. I can suggest certain things to help you understand my world. I can't say it online. But thank you for that education. Now I understand a bit better what's going on, and I realise there's obviously more rigid people in the world than I thought. Is this the root of all major conflict of your species? No, not really. Perhaps access to weaponry and mass destruction. There, that needs to go. All right, so you get the gist. I don't want to go through all this again because I want to move on to the Antarctica thing. And I need a drink because I'm raving on like a chook. Where's my Antarctica thing? Let's put that back up. It was for Renzo's sake I did that. Sorry, everyone. And late comments. Hi, everyone. By the way, we'll just do a little acknowledgement to the chat room here.
Did you just catch that out of the ether? I was just talking. I was just going to say that. We need to give everybody their little,
I'm on the ball.
dopamine serotonin boost.
On the ball today. All right. So we got Ken Rotman. G'day, bro. How you going? Check out his show. We got Algo. How you going, Algo? Good to see you. Check out his show. We got Jules. G'day, Jules. Oh, there you are. Yeah. And everyone watching that isn't in the chat room. G'day. How you going? All right, we got Renzo back. I want to move on to something nice and positive now. We'll just round up that section of these things. And Grub, g'day Grub, how you going, my brother? Mate, me and Donnie want to talk to you. And don't be shy, but we'd love to have a yarn with you. Good to have you here. Okay, so and yeah, we got NT Matters. G'day.
Hi, Antimatter.
And they're Renzo's people.
Yeah, I like what he's been dropping there in the chat.
Yeah.
Or
So,
he, she, it, her,
it's hard to tell
entity.
sometimes. Yeah.
Thank you, citizen.
And our Aussie pronunciation isn't actually right on ball. All right, let's round up this others beings section and what you think and what you thought of it. And if you missed it after the show, go back and watch it. And join us next week and we can do a roundup of everything because there's Christmas coming, everybody. Whether you believe in Christmas or not, doesn't matter. The point is that at least we can have one day where everyone's hearts are open and we're thinking about everybody in love.
Just one day a year. That's all we're allowed.
Yeah, no, it should be every day, but at least everyone practices it on one day. That's why I'm into Christmas. That's the only reason. Okay, so what did you think of this? We'll round this up. I need something to wet my whistle. Why is it a rounding up what you thought about this dude here? And we'll move on to the Antarctica because it feels like it's Antarctic in winter here in Australia because it's supposed to be really hot and it's freezing.
We got almost 2 feet of snow here.
Yeah, but it's supposed to be cold there, they say.
It was lightning here last night, and it was like chilly.
Yarn about what you think about that segment, and I'll be back.
All right, let's go back to Antarctica for Luna.
I'm keen while Luna's wetting her whistle. What did you think, Nacy?
Say again?
What did you think of the whole alien, the alien presentation, for lack of a better term?
I enjoy it. I absolutely believe, just the numbers alone of the stars and the universes and everything. To me, it's more impossible that one of these other planetoids doesn't have life. And it's really funny how arrogant we are because we're like, life as we know it. Life is life is life is life.
Totally agree.
Just because it's not the exact same as a human being doesn't mean it's not life.
Yeah, I mean, what were your thoughts, Renzo?
Pretty much what Pocahontas says in the Disney movie. I
The one who
believe
was
that
raped by John Smith.
No, she wasn't
Sorry.
raped in that movie. They did not
Okay.
depict that one. But no, she says, I believe that every rock and tree and creature has a life, has a spirit, has a name.
The colors of the wind.
Yes.
The world according to Disney.
Well, I think they got that one right.
Don't go see Avatar. Anyway, sorry.
Who?
And speaking of avatars,
No,
Luna,
we got to go to Antarctica.
yeah, no, I was just gonna say, check this out. My avatar is on point tonight. All these years that has been my YouTube thingy, and Luna does this show tonight. I feel like I should be. I'm dressed in a tux, but I'm not. I mean, the resemblance of the screen is uncanny with my avatar.
Your avatar looks nicer than that one.
All right, I'm back. I brought my cup of tea with me, so I'll prepare it while I'm.
And the avatar is an ET outside of a Starbucks mothership holding a cup of coffee.
I didn't know that was
what happened. I got coffee.
When I was with the band,
Starbucks.
we had this patch because we were called Alter Native, and our bass player drew this character where it's green, kind of like the classic gray alien, wearing a whole chest plate and buckskin with a band and a feather in its head. And it's like dancing the cheesy, where got your hand over your mouth and doing the woo, 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 woo. But yeah, so we had aliens, and the guitar player had an alien on his guitar, and the drum kit on the big bass drum had an alien head on his too.
Cool.
I tuned in halfway through that because I was showing my Starbucks stuff. I apologize, Nessa.
That's okay.
You talking about the band?
The band.
Playing with the boys. Even though that was, I guess, volleyball.
I don't know. If you guys are afraid of Satan, I don't understand why you guys go to Starbucks.
Oh, I was just saying, that's why I was shaking my head. I was shaking my head at myself.
I'm no longer affiliated with Starbucks.
It's just me now. Oh yeah, this is what I meant. See, look, I ought to be ashamed of myself.
I'm a hypocrite. So, hey, Luna.
Luna is not back yet.
Oh, okay. Because I feel bad we're not down in Antarctica.
Oh, there she is.
I'm back. I got lost in Antarctica. No, because we're actually just in the neighbourhood to Antarctica, Australia is. And apparently we got a lot of land there. So I don't know what that's about, but let's have a look. Or I'll just take this off. Hang on a minute, everybody. And I'll find Antarctica.
Hey, Luna, I just dropped something in your Discord. Take a look at it because you might want to share it.
Okay.
I have a quick question.
Go.
Do y'all have, or are we gonna get here later? The beastie that's like I've heard people talk about that's supposed to be on Antarctica, or is that for later? Did I just
the what?
A beastie.
A beastie.
Apparently, that's what Johnny Depp calls the monster thing in Pirates. Yeah.
Ooh.
I saw it. I don't know how to share it from there.
Well, there's so much stuff coming out of Antarctica and so many different theories, and it's really hard because none of us can have access to it to know what's going on.
Well, that's why. Oh, I'm so sorry.
The only connection I know about Antarctica is that my doctor at the VA was one of the leading cardiologists at the VA, and he actually was sent to Antarctica.
Ooh.
And when he got back, I'm like, why'd you go to Antarctica? And he's like, oh, I just went there to check things out. And I'm like, people don't go to Antarctica just to check things out. Why'd you go there? And he's like, well, I had to go there for some work. And I'm like, what'd you have to do? And he's like, just stuff, work stuff. And he wouldn't share.
That's
And of course,
sus.
he'd get killed if he shared.
Cardiologist? Like a
Yeah.
heart doctor?
Yeah. Pulmonary something, some
Is that
long
Somebody
label term.
important. Maybe
whatever
somebody
was up there
important
was
needed
so
one.
shocking? Everyone was having heart attacks, so they had to send the heart specialist.
Oh yeah, I remember they had that card off Buzz Aldrin.
Okay, before we go on, I want to welcome Tommy. G'day, brother. How you going?
Doing well, doing well. How's everyone tonight?
We're good. Thank you for joining us.
Peachy Keen Jelly Bean.
Tommy, can you hear me? Tommy, can you
Yeah, I
hear
can
me?
I'm the pinball wizard, remember?
Okay, so we should get this rolling. Sorry you missed the first part of the show, Tommy, where we had the nice alien clip. You're going to have to go back and watch it. We're going to kick on with our Antarctica things. Now, the thing about this, last night, I didn't do this till today either. I actually had this in my research column for a long time, and I was a bit lazy, or it wasn't time, I don't know. But someone else has put this stuff up. You'll see it all over everywhere, and I'm not one to put up the same stuff as everyone. I try not to, but here it is anyway, and I thought I'd jump in the bandwagon and get on because I secretly like what's at Antarctica. It doesn't mean it's right, but I secretly like it. Anyway, all right, let's go on before I rave again. Yep, Ken F. Rotman, you're right. We can see Antarctica from here just about if you had a good binocular. So, all right, I'll get this thing shared. Now, unfortunately, there's no sound. It's just pictures. So we'll go through it and then I'll go back through it because it's quite quick. And we will say what's there because Naysay can't see it. And I'll put it on full screen. Here we go, people. This is Antarctica. This is supposedly Antarctica 1912 expedition by General Robert Scott. You can go check it out yourself. Obviously, the ice isn't as much as they say it is. It's not what they say it is. We all know that by now. Whether this has been mucked around and had, what do they call it, Photoshop and all that, we don't know. It's all up to you. I'll just present it. Check it out. But one thing I did notice, watch out for the people in the picture and the statues look like they're wearing the same clothes. That's what I noticed. But we'll talk about that as we go through it. And here we go. And then we'll go back through it for naysayers. So hope you enjoy, people. All right. Alrighty, right. Where are we? Click the screen. There we go. All right. So we'll go back on that. What did you think of that? That was good, eh?
Yeah.
So we'll go back through that a little bit.
I mean, I kept seeing all those images of ships and ice and I don't know. I guess my conspiratorial mind just took me to National Treasure and the Illuminati and the Masons.
That was on Jesse's house the other night. Nicolas Cage. He cracks me up. I'm going to steal the Declaration of Independence.
All right, so let's start describing a bit of this. So here we are, supposedly in Antarctica. It's supposed to be covered in snow and there's nothing there but ice. And we have what looks like debris and a circle of something, and you'll see stuff that looks like machinery. I'll put it back up on full screen so we can see it a bit better.
Looks like shards. It's hard to describe, but in the background it looks like another disc from my angle.
It reminds me of a crystal like basin thing that is, or it was made of quartz that was kind of like left in the ruins of somewhere in Giza. I don't know. I saw it on, actually it was a Netflix documentary on the pyramids. It's like this huge basin made of quartz.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really, I'm going to abuse this word. I'm sorry. Sus. I just learned it.
Sus. Yeah, that's normal here. You're going to fit right in down here, Renzo, if you keep going. There's a person there. So now what we got, Noso, is looks like a frozen waterfall in the background, and it's hilly. And there's a person, looks like a person standing there. Could be
looks like Gumby.
Gumby.
Look like Gumby.
Maybe a blue beam. We had stories of blue beams like that, but they didn't like us.
Are those the things with the long legs?
No, the tall, skinny ones. They look like Slender Man. They like us.
Yeah. Okay, that scared me. I saw that on the YouTube one time, and that scared me. But it just like frightened me, as in like that's real, you know?
Yeah, it is. But they liked us. The blue ones wanted to cause us mischief, and the tall, skinny ones made sure we were all right when they found them.
They're like guardians.
Yeah. So here we got a frozen ship, and this is all normal. Like this is what you expect to see in Antarctica, from what they've told us. It's sort of full of ice, and it's normal. The ship's old sailing ship. These are sailing ships because it was 1912, remember? And isn't it funny, from there to not long after, and them ships were obsolete.
You want to know something funny? It's funny you said that. I've like dreamed about Antarctica like one time. That actually, I remember thinking when I thought like, that looks like from my dream, and it's just based on like my preconceptions of Antarctica. Like that was what it mirrored what I saw in my dream. I'm not trying to be like, oh, it made me think of it. Yeah.
Me, yeah, I see certain pictures and it's like, oh yeah, I remember that. There's something in me that knows that it remembers.
Yeah.
Well, I can't remember what the map's name is, but there's a map out there that shows Antarctica.
Oh,
and
you're
land.
talking about the Perry Reese map.
Maybe, but I can't remember. But it actually shows the coastline of Antarctica. And they found out through ground penetrating radar that it was correct. So how did this map supposedly, like, I can't remember, oh geez, what was it? I can't remember how old it was, but it was something old map. Let's just say that.
Yeah, from medieval times.
And
Right.
what civilization or people were supposed to have?
This was the Perry Reese map.
Right, which if I recall right, he copied it from Phoenicians.
Okay. Wait, Phoenicians.
That's what I've heard.
What's it called? I want to Google it really
Ah,
fast.
sorry, Jules.
It's all good.
But when I think of Antarctica, I think of two movies right away: John Carpenter's The Thing, and then also the Alien versus Predator, when they found the pyramid
Ooh,
down
yeah.
there.
That's so
Well,
subversive.
What we got here looks like leftovers of a civilization, and something like you said before, Renzo, you'd see in another country, in the desert of Cairo or something. They're like little leftovers of what would have been buildings. They're
Yeah.
rock. Yeah, and it's something it got blown away. Looks like blown up. Same you see in Australia. Me and Donnie have often had yarns about the stuff we see in the bush looks melted or blown up. And then looking around at the rest of the world, there's evidence still it looks blown up or blown away by something. And that's what we got here, little remnants of, you can see the little footpaths there. You know, you can see where people walked or beings walked. Because I presume
Yeah. There's a
whoever
grid.
lived here, whoever lived here would be obviously different to us. I heard stories. I've been watching some stuff around, and now people talk about before I've spoke about it many times. There were the upper atmosphere. There were giant trees, and it made an upper atmosphere, and it didn't rain, and it was a totally different. The weather was totally different down here, and things grew different. It was a totally different time when those big trees fell in the upper atmosphere, and all the moisture from the sky come down. It caused kind of like a flood, we didn't actually flood here. It just rained a lot. But from my research in Europe, it actually flooded. And
was that before or after the moon appeared?
Well, there was, I call them incursions. There were many incursions, but we have stories about the times when the moon wasn't here, and we have stories about when the moon came, and the proof of the reality that this happened was when the moon came. We have laws about walking around in the bush, that there are beings from the moon that'll come and get you, and especially for women. And when I found out about them laws, that just confirmed the fact that there are beings that come from the moon down here.
Aren't they called Moonies?
Moonies, little green men. And their story about the moon not being here and the beings that lived here when it wasn't here. And I've heard them all over the rest of the world to confirm our stories. And we're supposed to have the oldest ones in the world. So I thank Creator that I was born into it. So I've got a good starting place to put this puzzle.
We were talking about this. I need to go back and revisit. It was Credo Mutwa, the Zulu king. He did a good
David Icke interview.
Yeah, when talking about how the moon came.
I'm not familiar with this. Is like there's like a short rundown?
Like I'm saying, I'm listening. I'm listening to you guys yarn, and it's just I need to go back and revisit that interview.
I'm curious. Is David Icke? I'll watch that.
Oh,
Anyway.
This was like years
David
ago.
Icke ripped
like
off
in the 90s.
Jordan Maxwell.
Anyway, so here we have evidence to civilization in the Antarctica. It looks similar to other places we find here in the world, our world. And there's buildings. Look, there's an arched building, stone building. You'd find that here. And in the background, say, are just iced mountains.
I mean, I'm seeing these and I'm thinking of this was 1912, and supposedly it was still relatively undiscovered in the 40s when those bad guys came. What if they didn't actually go there? They were just going back.
Yeah, because there's a time the map that you mentioned before in Perry Roosevelt, and all the other maps I've seen, I haven't done a map show yet. All the other ones I've seen, it's all green. It isn't iced. There's still beings living there, animals, weird beings. Some of them I think are even in our stories, and some of them are left behind here in remnants.
Well, it's kind of like, I mean, if the poles flipped.
What do you think, Tommy?
That's one of the theories, was the poles flipped in Antarctica in its current form. All of the land masses, the tectonic plates shifted, and Antarctica ended up where it is now, and it was a sudden, immediate freeze over of the continent.
I'm so sorry. I get this is my the pole flips. It's a trigger for me. So do y'all think that, or do y'all? I'm curious because I went and I looked into it, and apparently there's no correlation between megafauna extinction and pole flips, but I didn't look into those sources, and that's the only thing that I saw that made me be like, that's evidence that would be against the pole flips and Earth catastrophe happening. But I was inclined to think that the pole flips are something that might be associated with catastrophe because the dynamo effect.
Yeah, it was just an adjustment, and you can tell, Renzo, I've been onto that too, because I've known about that for a long time. But the realism of it is, we have species of aquatic animals that have migrated from North Australia down here on the eastern coast further south. And this has been happening for the last 20 years, slowly. There's been die-offs and regrowths in the ocean, and it's easy to see, obviously, because the water's clear, right? But it's been happening in the bush as well. We've had birds that only came from the mountains that I look at here on the plains. And for years and years and years of my existence in this place, They've always been up the mountains. If you wanted to hear them, we used to go for drives just to listen to them. Now they're down here in the plains with me, and over those last 20 or so years, they've slowly migrated. So that tells me there is changes. And me and Nate have often talked about the sun moving and stuff like that, because certain trees that were planted 20, 30 years ago for shade are no longer useful. In that area, they're useful for other things, but not for that particular shade reason. And I've watched nature slowly change over time, where the world was carrying on with its existence in moving towards this so-called shift. And for what I know with magnets and magnetism, and even we are magnetic, okay, there is a cold and a warm area. It generates cold and warmth. So for the Antarctica to freeze over suddenly, it's not really suddenly. The sudden part would be that, oh, now it's obvious. The actual reality was it was turning that way for a long time. So it's happening again, obviously, because all the signs indicate it, where they reckon it's melting and all that again. So this was only 1912. And the pictures you can see on screen, there's hardly any snow, and you can see the structures of the building. We're looking at another structure with, obviously that was some kind of tall building or something. It's all made of stone and decorative, which we see in our own countries. So the snow's minimum, so that must be what was left over as it grew, or was it actually melting from then onwards? Right, it's not long ago. It was only 1912. You know, that's your great grandparent.
I don't know enough about how quickly ice can melt, you know, at given temperatures to have a valid opinion on that. But I will say, just really quickly, you know, if the Earth is a giant electromagnetic motor, then the Earth depend on the poles. And so if the poles flip, then the direct, and I'm not saying that these two things are connected, because I went and I looked into it and I couldn't find any direct evidence, you know, that supported that. But I didn't find any evidence that, you know, dismissed it either.
Well, one thing I'm sorry, keep going, Brenda.
Oh, I was just saying really fast. If it is, then the poles flipping, that would mean that the spin of the Earth would have to change, and the amount of forces involved with that. I mean, it would depend on how long it took, but like I don't know about it all to really speculate beyond that.
Well, I was just going to bring up the fact that they have found woolly mammoths up in the Arctic, where they have actual food still in their mouth and in their throat and in their stomach. So there has been instant change. You know, mountains were created within hours.
Well, I would believe that.
I agree, Nace. I agree with there is instant change, because I've been telling people for years the mother can spew forth a lake fully stocked with fish and life for supporting life in just an instant. And Carl found a clip from somewhere the other day and showed me. And sure enough, the water was bubbling out of the ground and there were fully grown fish coming along with it, and it just filled up this lake, and it proved that. But what I'm saying about the pole shift is that, yes, it is instant, but we only see it as it's instant because, you know, you and me have been watching everything move for a long time. And we've been telling everyone it's been moving, but now they can actually see it's moving. Now it's becoming instant.
Right. Well, by definition, when you say a pole shift,
hold on,
that is when, you know, just where magnetic. There's a really good book out there called Path.
I have notes on this.
There's a really good book out there called Path of the Poles, and it talks about where this guy would go around and take core samples. You know, basically, you know, 8-inch drill, and then he would take a big old cylinder of the earth and dig down. and you can look at the rocks in different sedimentary layers, and you can see the change of the alignment of the magnetism within the stone. And they show how it has changed or shifted over the years. And I think this is a regular cycle that Mother Earth goes through.
So
And the powers
It
that
is.
should not be, they don't want us to know that, because then they can call it climate change.
Yeah, in case
Or
you
they
know.
don't want us to know that geomagnetic reversals may have, you know, they're not something to be ignored. But
Yeah, agreed.
again, I still have to look up like enough evidence to be able to be like, yes. Just as like far I am inclined to agree with you guys, like so much, but I guess I just the, you know, I want to try
said
and figure it out.
last time pole shift happened was 78. Oh, can someone count that number for me?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8
years.
All right. You know, numbers not my thing, right?
It happens on a schedule. Nobody really. They
All right.
last time it happened, but it's so far in between time. Civilizations just probably tend to forget. You forget the past when there's nobody left around.
I'm gonna have to go through my history, because I recently came across something, and it kind of ties into what the Antarctic, with the whole theory, pole shifting and everything, and animal extinction, and it was coming from the Ark in Kentucky. They have a museum there, and there was a guy doing a lecture, and he was saying extinct animals.
Quit pinching your cat.
How can we prove that they came from from two animals, the whole species thing? But basically, they were kind of saying that when the Ark was coming, it wasn't 2 by 2 of every animal. It was like a master animal, like from this equestrian came all these different kind of donkeys, horses, and stuff. So it kind of simplified the size of the Ark, but it was going into climate and talking about those extinct animals like the mammoth that Nathan was talking about. All these bones that are being found, and they're proving that this whatever happened, this cataclysm, this event that happened, it was instant. And they were talking about going through the different layers of rock, and how strata is pushed up and it forms mountains, and everything were created. So I was going through my history and I couldn't find it, but I'm kind of preoccupied. So when I find it, I'll drop it in.
I think we have another guest on the show. Whose cat would like to speak up?
Yeah, I'm trying to pacify him right now. That's nature's representative.
He's got a lot to say. He's got a lot to say.
Telling us, he's saying you guys are all full of stuff.
Yeah, he agrees.
Calm down, Mr. Bigglesworth.
I got inside information.
Yeah, apparently.
Dallas, hold on. I'm going to let the dog.
Okay, so here we're looking at, this was a circular building of some kind, again made out of rock, and looks like it's blown up and shattered everywhere. And that's what you keep seeing. There's another one. So war. You know, when I look around in Australia's bush, I see remnants of stuff that don't belong there. It looks similar to this stuff, but overgrown with trees and stuff like that. There we got a pole. What do you call that? A column? What's a column like that doing in the middle of Antarctica or on the edge? And there's smashed up buildings. There's a statue of a penguin. So someone made that statue of a penguin, unless the penguins are secretly a society of stonemasons.
Don't forget Madagascar, that in that movie from way back when, they had all those penguins who were the masterminds.
Oh, look at that. There's a pyramid, man. One of the shows I showed you before,
And there's a smaller pyramid in front of it that kind of
Yeah.
looks like it could be mimicking the Sphinx in front of the Great Pyramid.
Yeah, I've done a show, I think, where I showed you pyramids in Antarctica, and I'll do more because there's more and more stuff coming out. And there's old stuff that is relevant to today. That's what I really like getting into. But yeah, there's a step pyramid there with a little pyramid in front of it. Like the penguins are pretty clever, man. Look, they built a pyramid. The Secret
Yeah, I
Society.
saw somewhere there supposedly some pyramids in Antarctica that are larger than the ones in Giza.
Yep.
And there's looks like a building in the
More and more
background.
ancient.
Yeah, they are. They're probably the first ones, and then the thing, as the ice come, they moved here and built stuff. That
You
looks
guys want
like,
me to really pop your noodle about Antarctica?
yeah, come on.
What if Antarctica is Atlantis?
Let's throw it all on the table. Antarctica, it's the last frontier before the rest of it, because I know there's more beyond that. And I'm
Okay,
waiting.
this came from watching the TV series West Wing. You remember that about, the White House?
Yeah.
And Washington disease. Well, they were having this special day when they had to talk to all these different types of groups around the country. They had like half an hour or whatever to talk to these people. And there was this group, I can't remember what they were called, but they were arguing for maps to be accurate, that all of the maps are not accurate. And then when they came in and were giving their argument and showing where everything was properly supposed to be, then they're like, well, what is the biggest change we should do? And the guy flipped the entire map upside down. And I'm like, what? So then I looked deeper into it and found out that our perception of the Earth is wrong, that the northern hemisphere is actually the southern hemisphere, and the southern hemisphere is actually the northern hemisphere. And that's why Antarctica is such a huge sheet of ice, because it's the part of the Earth that tilts away from the sun. And so it's allowed to freeze harder and more solid than where in the Arctic, it's a bunch of chunks of big ice plates.
I didn't know that last part, actually. That is interesting. And it agrees. But they do know, or at least I learned from Khan Academy anyway, when I was just watching, videos on magnetism. They do state that magnetic north, or geographic north, is actually magnetic south.
I always, hey, here we go. Come on, all us Aussies that are watching. They reckon we're at the bottom of the earth and we're down under. But I always knew secretly that we were on top. But I never spoke about it. Thank you for bringing that up and coughing that up, Nose. And we actually look like a cup. And when I saw it, I thought Australia looks like a cup. That's very interesting. A big one, but because it's got the Great Australian Bite and that's the cup part, and you turn it upside down. Anyway, that's my thought. Well, all the secrets are being revealed. Anyway, looking up at the screen here, we got another thing. What do you reckon that is, people? It looks like a bridge, an arch. It's not an archway.
Could it
Can
be
you turn the brightness up? It looks pretty dark.
Sorry, Nace. Yeah, so it looks like, I don't know how to describe that. Either a great big entrance to something, and it's brick on both sides and has a platform on top to join it. And
yeah, it would be like
nice.
underneath a train,
Yeah,
like looking from the ground up.
Yeah, and the inside's covered in the ice, but all over the top where the sun's shining on it is all brick, and it's very, very large, very large. And I remember looking at Antarctica nowadays, I remember seeing something similar to like that. Imagine that covered totally in ice. I reckon if I could go and find it now and show you, I think they've bodged up, what do they call it? Photoshopped it and made it all look like ice, because I've seen that shape and many other shapes. And I thought they look like buildings.
Well, one of the things that has to be like determined is that, how did it become this massive plate of ice? Well, it basically started with a snowfall, and more snowfall and more snowfall. And as the weight of the snow got heavier, then it solidified the ice harder. And then it starts turning into that, because it's water. And water, even when it's ice, is moving, but it's like just micro movement to it. And so as like in the center of the ice sheet, if it's getting heavier and heavier, it's going to cause it to spread out, because it has nowhere to go. Or else Antarctica would be a just big, huge pile of ice, like a big dome.
Yeah. I heard a story that it was put there on purpose to keep us in, to lock us in, lock us up, lock us down.
So y'all, I'm sorry.
It was put there by porpoise?
Yeah, by porpoises. I told you the penguins and the porpoises, it's a secret society, and they've kept all this from us.
There's the porpoises, not the dolphins.
No, dolphins is the pure and true. Porpoises, then, not sure about them.
About the dolphins,
don't forget the mermaids and mermen.
Yeah, they're okay too. All right.
Unless they're on a Starbucks cup.
Is Antarctica?
Pardon, Jules?
Could Atlantis be Antarctica?
I think
that was one of the theories I've heard. I don't know.
I've heard that theory too. It's just that there's other like how the grid system, we were speculating earlier. I've seen pictures or alleged pictures of the ocean floor, and it looked like there was kind of like a grid system, like a city had been laid out there. So
I only throw that out because the way my brain is processing and thinking, it's the whole Antarctica Atlantis theory, knowing or having been led to believe that all of the Egyptians came from Atlantis. I mean, that's where my thoughts go.
I've heard that one too, and honestly, I've kind of always gone with that.
Egypt wasn't always dry and barren. It was once lush rainforest.
I heard that it was a colony or something. That's what I read. I mean, somewhere on the internet. But
I speculate that Atlantis was a common term that was used to describe the entirety of the earth.
Maybe they had a one world order. Oh, Lord.
All right, so now we're looking at
Y'all ever wonder if they had an internet?
Yeah, I reckon they did too. Yeah.
Wonder if they had Facebook.
They probably had all these. Well, remember, they had the third eye. They had the ability to do things that we've been dumbed down over centuries.
They were probably more advanced than we could even imagine.
Maybe.
I'm pretty sure on that one. I don't know.
I say challenge accepted.
Yeah. So looking here now, we got another building in the background. Look how large they are. And in the foreground, there's little arched doorways. Oh, look, the cat is so wanting to tell us stuff about it.
What is that, Merlin?
Yeah.
What kind of spell are you going to cast on us, Merlin?
So here's little doorways, and you can see that that's obviously a building. So I wonder what the perspective is, of how large it actually is, because those walls in the background look very large. And Donnie, I'll put the address in if anyone wants to jump in. I've got
Yeah, Donnie says look at the false doors.
Yeah. Hang on. Look at that. Oh, look at that building in the background there. That looks like some step temple or something on that. Look at the big square. A big square. There's a big square or rectangular stone rock just sitting there in the middle of nowhere. There's no snow to be found. Look at that.
Definitely a man-made structure.
Yeah.
Or artificially
thing
made
in the
structure. I don't
background.
know if I want to say man-made.
I don't know. I think humans could build that. Maybe.
I did drop the link in chat to the video that I was talking about the ark and extinct animals and the pole flip and how it all kind of ties together.
Oh man, this is making me want to go back and continue my investigations.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny, this came up the other day as well. When I was Jesse woke up really early, randomly, and I happened to be reviewing electromagnetism, which ended up being really, really good because later that day I ended up tutoring somebody. And I had reviewed it just enough so it wasn't like a complete fail. I ended up getting tutored. Sometimes the tutor gets tutored.
Yeah.
I digress.
It's called an equal exchange of energy.
I get paid for it.
If you look at this picture, it looks like the wall. So we're looking at a wall. There's stone on each side, and the middle's all frozen. So possibly could be an entryway for ships, but it's covered with snow. See the archway in the middle? Look, and look at that.
And you, my friend, have exposed your greatest fears. I sentence you to be exposed before your peers. Tear down the walls.
Yeah.
What? Our greatest fears? Social excommunication?
Take Floyd the wall.
Yeah.
Oh, the flood.
Oh, look, I've just got to go and paste the card.
Merlin's got something to say.
Yeah, we need a translator.
Merlin, do you believe in Atlantis?
Well, you know, in the ancient Egyptian time, Merlin would have been worshipped.
Yeah, he just went out.
What you're talking about ancient Egyptian time? He's still worshipped.
Yeah.
Well, he probably got
Did you hear him like demanding attention?
Hey, Merlin, do you remember Atlantis? No? Were you somewhere else? Yeah, there you go. Hey,
I'm going to have a segment calling Ask Merlin.
Yeah, we got to have Donnie on because Donnie talks to him in language and they have a conversation. Yep, that's right. It's Donnie's birthday today. Happy birthday, my brother. All right, so we're looking at columns here. Look, if that's not proof of someone living there, what is? Columns so cold and frozen, the stone looks like you could break it with a pick.
Yes, but do you see any outhouses?
No, there was a rumor that the people, they reckon that one of the first creators of the buildings, some of those giant buildings we have, were made by beings that didn't eat or drink. So they didn't need toilets. But I disagree with that because I've always been a bush girl kinda. If you want to find something that's alive, you find where it eats or you find where it poops and you'll find it, right? So I've been looking for giant poops around the world or places where that poop, right? And I've actually found somewhere in Europe there's a deserty looking place and there's just miles and miles of these little blob. Yeah, I'll have to find it and put it up. It's so totally funny. And and it's actually serious because if you're hunting something, you'll hunt its habitat, right? You hunt around everyone. You hunt the scout. Knows all that, right? So you hunt it out. You look for these things. And I have found evidences of giant poops, all right? Whether they're dinosaur poops or people poops, I don't know.
It's a people poop. No, I don't want to meet that person.
And I have found evidence of eating places for giants, right? And because they eat humans in a particular way, and there are eating places for giants, and they've left evidence of that. But that's another show. All right, so in the picture we have more columns that are frozen. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 columns all in a row.
13, they must be Masons.
Yeah, no, they're the penguins and the porpoises.
Well, I mean, the Masons and the tying back into some of the first images that were shown were of ships in the ice, which took me to the whole national treasure, Illuminati, Freemasons.
Watch what you say. They're fictitious characters. What are you talking about? They're not real. None of this is all. What did you say it was in the beginning? Education. It's not for educational purposes. It's for your own determination. For you to figure.
Oh, we need another disclaimer.
Yeah.
Well, you know, for a while I had just discllaimer on my screen,
Yeah,
but then I forgot the site where I got my disclaimer from. So
I should apologize to you.
No, it's all good.
First and foremost, because our show last Friday got yanked.
Yes. Joe's got a first star.
You took my video down.
That's how you know you're doing something right.
Was that last Friday or the previous?
This past Friday.
Yeah.
Took it down.
Yep.
Did they say why?
Joe's got a first star.
No, maybe it was.
Because she's being shadow banned.
Yeah, it got taken down for misinformation.
Oh,
I think it was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, that's the one. It was 2 weeks ago. But they took it down.
Did they tell you what it was, or was it just like
this is
generalized?
We were using the buzzwords for the allegory.
Yeah, no, I wasn't like
for the algorithm.
I was just curious if they told you why or what it was, or if they
no, I mean they didn't. They just said it was misinformation.
That's such bullshit.
Yeah. It's all a dream. Don't worry, none of it's real.
It is what it is.
Merrily, life is but a dream.
Right. So,
until we ascend.
2023, I'm on Rumble. I've already got my stuff. I'll be on Rumble. I don't know if I'm streaming there.
I'll be on Cannabis.
Rumble?
Yeah, everything that we say is all a dream, and it's not. It doesn't exist, and it's not.
Wake up!
You can say whatever you like now.
It's a universal dream. We're all in on the same dream together.
We're all sleeping somewhere, dreaming the same dream. So there you go, folks. It's not real, and we can say whatever we like.
Tommy, jump in.
This picture here looks like metal rubble. Like how can I explain it? Like something metal got blown up, and that's all the bits left over. Yeah, jump in, Tommy. Just these fellas just keep talking. Just jump in and say what you need to say. So yeah, they look like metal bits. You reckon?
Yep.
All right, we'll keep this.
Look like metal. It's like abandoned mailboxes.
Abandoned mailboxes. Well, we're over our 2-hour mark already. Anyway, that's right. Look at these fellas. See, look at these two fellas standing there, or ladies, gentlemen, whatever they are. Look at the jacket and how they're puffed up, obviously because it's cold. And what they're looking at looks like metal. Now that looks like metal to me. It doesn't look like stone. It looks like something fell over.
Yeah. I mean,
it's like the back of a TV.
And it looks like that stuff has been there for a long time.
Giant mobile phone. Anyway, but just see their clothing, and when there's two statues, they look like them. And I can't get a better look on what their faces look like, but and this could all be constructed. So yeah, we're looking at this metal thing that fell over, and they say, and it's huge. It's like 2 people long and 2.5 people wide, and looks like a metal thing standing up that might have fell over, an antenna. I don't know.
It was probably heavy metal.
Looks like it could be like remnants of a machine.
Yeah, that's exactly. Then we've got an arched way here that looks like a dome with something sticking out of the top of it. And it's all just made of shattered rocks.
What if that's a sundial on the top of it?
Yeah, could be. Oh,
I
look at
love the pictures of the ships.
Yeah, I get trauma, DNA trauma when I see them.
I get that.
Me too. It's because we were pirates, Luna.
Hang on. Oh, there you are. That looks like a oven. I don't know. Looks like a rock oven, you know, for pizza. And there's your doorway.
Brick oven.
Maybe it was a, what's it called?
Kiln.
Kiln.
Kiln, yeah.
A
Thank you.
cheesecake factory.
Let the smart people talk.
Was that directed at?
This was all 1912?
Yeah.
Okay, and then they had 1946 is when Admiral Byrd went to Antarctica in Operation High Jump. You know, it's a lot of people going to Antarctica, and supposedly there's nothing to see there but just a bunch of ice.
Then
Is
Metallica went to. Yeah, Metallica going on. That's
The bad
Important
man
people-
with the black uniforms and the black booted thugs went there too. Was that little
and-
short guy with the mustache?
And Johnny
A
says
little swastika.
2001.
wasn't an old guy. It was like Al Gore or something went there. But it was like, why are they going to Antarctica? Because don't you also, isn't the like trip to get there kind of like intense?
Yeah.
Well, I know
wanna
it's
go
very
there one day.
restrictive, like highly restricted area.
Well, apparently Metallica, was important enough to go there.
Well,
Yeah,
it's
what did they
the
get to
only
see?
it's the only continent in the world where all of the countries have agreed to be like neutral territory.
Hey, if you notice that picture and the one next to it, they're pictures of what was there. So look at these buildings where someone's living, obviously. And then the next one is a picture. Oh, crap. Hang on. The next one's a picture of a statue or something, but that's a picture of a picture, right? So that's obviously what was there too. It looks a bit sandy, eh? And there's a pillar.
Look at me, I'm Sandra D.
Sandy.
And Johnny says there's a New Zealand plane crash there.
Is Donnie in the chat room?
Oh, yeah, I put the thing in for him to jump in and get his wisdoms. But it's his birthday today.
This goes for Donnie.
Merry
Happy
birthday.
birth recognition day to you. Happy birth recognition day to you. Happy birth recognition day, Donnie. Happy birth recognition date to you. And many more.
Hippie bray, hippie bray, hippie, hippie, hippie bray. My kids run around the house all day singing happy hatching day songs. And they go in there by the end of the day, shut up, Mum. I'm like, Dad, it's a beautiful day. All right, look at these dudes' statues here. So you got a fella or a lady, we don't know, the back. We're looking at the back of the statue, the one on the right-hand side. And it's wearing a puffy coat like those people. And then there's a picture of a lady with clothes on. And look, they're not destroyed. See how some things are destroyed and some aren't? That's what gets me.
Astute observation.
And I know in nature it does it does things like that. It can destroy a whole street and leave one house standing.
Really?
Yeah.
I would have imagined that everything just gets eroded over time. But I guess that's kind of what I've been.
Because nature's a spirit, remember, like it's this entity. So as one moves as one, or many as one. Anyway, I'll explain that another time.
I
But
even
do that.
maybe think, during one of the world wars that maybe they got bombed.
Yeah, it looks like they got bombed. They got bombed. Yeah, maybe they're secret war.
Depends on what they're made of, though, also.
You're
What do you
right,
all
Nat.
think they're made of?
There's a whole thing we're not looking at there. Presume they knew all about this all the whole time. There were beings living there, and they used the war here to go and bomb there. Why not? Like, who knows? Them penguins.
Tommy does, but he's just being quiet the whole show.
Come on, Tommy, if you've got knowledge, then cough it up, man.
This is reminding me of the old 70s Disney movie, The Island at the Top of the World.
You
Wow,
know,
I've
you
never
can't,
heard of
you can't
that.
reveal
The
everything all
scientist
at
goes
once.
to
Quiet, Donnie's talking. I mean, Tommy's talking.
You can't reveal everything all at once. You just got to dribble it out, you know. If I tell you everything, then you won't want to talk to me anymore.
But you never know. We might already know what you're going to say and go, yay,
Well, you guys do.
welcome to the
Not,
mob.
not most people, but you guys know at least a starting point with things. Well, you're probably familiar with the whole thing. I know the Hopi Indians had the whole belief that the world's been created and destroyed, 4 times, and we're the 5th age.
Yep. Most
Familiar with that
indigenous
one.
people think like that.
You know, there's been basically 4 other worlds, civilizations before us, and then each one gets destroyed and starts anew.
It's like we're a big old Etch-a-Sketch, and every now and then the creator just shakes the hell out of it.
Yeah, yep, exactly. That was like the whole thing with the Tower of Babel, you know, and people got together and they had to break that up and spread them out across the world and give them different languages so they couldn't communicate with one another anymore.
Have you ever read Zachariah Stitchin's stuff at all, Tommy?
Oh yeah, I'm very familiar with his work. What about him?
Oh, I'm just saying that he goes into detail about the Tower of Babel and how the word actually translates into a Shem, and the Shem is a vehicle to leave the planet, and that was why the gods smashed everything, because they're like, oh dang, they're about to go beyond their own planet. We can't have that.
Yeah.
Fuck the gods.
Basically was trying to
Ooh.
hold us back.
Excuse me.
Well, the thing about the gods, you know, gods have a god complex. The worshippers and the servants can't become the gods. That's that's the whole paradox of gods. You know, we've come a long way as a race, but we've got a long way to go.
Yeah. We ain't even near the finish line.
And I think perhaps in ancient times we were actually more advanced or more in tune spiritually than we are now.
100 years ago, we were more advanced and spiritually.
I would agree.
You could say 10 years ago we were.
I would agree with that too.
Because think about how far we're out of touch with nature now with the modern technology. You know, we do everything against nature versus with nature.
Why do they need to wipe out all of the Paleo-Americans? Because they could not have those teachings interfering with progress.
Yeah. Technology is a double-edged sword.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's heartbreaking that the technology that is most beneficial isn't utilized.
Well, it's kind of like, you know, everything else, you know, like, man, if only things were just like used and allocated properly. I wonder if they use sound technology to build the pyramids.
Oh, I would agree more so that
1111,
they
make a
did.
wish if you're on the East Coast. U.S. Excuse me.
Okay. I had to put something in my mouth.
No, you're good. I mean,
That's what she said.
So here we have some statues. Now, this looks kind of Asian, but it looks kind of melted as well. And that's what I mean. It destroyed today. We saw the debris from other things being destroyed. Things look metal, things that look stone. But here, this looks like some sort of marble statue. Very Asian looking.
Mm-hmm.
And if you've looked around at these things, it looks like something similar. But it's not destroyed. It's just kind of melted a little bit, which I found interesting, and it's still white.
That's interesting. You said that, like, validates what I was thinking, and like, because I took an art history class in 10th grade, and like I got a C in it, but like I just remember the pictures of the you know, the slides of the Asian. It was actually the only exposure I had ever had to like Asian history or like Eastern history. But yeah, like I was kind of thinking that kind of looks like those. But Luna, you saying that validated what I thought.
Yeah. And now this one's perfectly preserved, not melted. It's a
No,
fella, all right, so we'll describe it for Naysay. It's a fella who's got a, what kind of hat would you say that is? A round, flat at the top hat and round. He's got a beard, a moustache. It looks like some ornamental thing on each side near his cheeks. Whether it's his hair or not, I can't tell.
he looks Eastern to me.
He does. He's wearing some sort of jacket with fur down the front. He's got ornamental belt, and he's wearing a kind of roby looking thing. You can't see his pants.
He looks Anunnaki to me, Jules.
I was actually thinking that. I mean, I'm seeing the Anunnaki, but I was also looking Mongolian. Trying
He
Yeah,
looks
Anunnaki.
very serious.
Anunnaki love their beards.
So
Could that that's either got to be in Inky or in Lil.
don't know. Could be some leader of who knows who. Who knows? Who knows? I know someone that knows. Crowd of men.
You guys have access to Netflix. There's a good show on there called Ancient Apocalypse with Graham Hancock. I've watched the first couple of episodes. I haven't finished it yet, but he does a very good job going in depth with ancient civilizations and the whole theory of an ancient apocalypse right at the end of the last ice age.
I'll have to check it out. Sounds interesting.
I'm getting ready to watch the episode now on Atlantis. I haven't watched that one yet, but he's done a couple of places, South America and some European places, and there's pyramids and stuff that modern archaeologists refuse to admit because it would mess up the timeline. We talked about that before. The timeline's already set, and anything that doesn't corroborate with the general consensus, they tend to hide and shove away.
They get very upset.
Yeah, they get very upset. And in his in that series, they talk about finding all these giant skeletons of 7 and 8 foot tall beings, and the Smithsonian supposedly has a lot of these skeletons, and it's all tucked away somewhere. And when they tried to get access to it, they said it was in a building that had asbestos and they couldn't get to it, and there's all these excuses. But they take and find all of this evidence, and then they kind of just shove it away and don't talk about it and cover it up.
Yeah, I believe. Yeah, I got stuff about the Giants too, Tommy, because I want to do a Giant show. I haven't done it. Naysay knows how much I love Giant stuff, and all this time I haven't done it.
Yeah, they have found these skeletons of giants all over the world. It's a worldwide phenomenon. It's not limited to just one continent.
Well, not far from where I live over the mountains, there's a Giants camp with giant grinding stones and all that. I haven't been there for a long time. I don't even know if it's still there anymore, and they covered it up because they'd been doing that. But it had giant grinding stones, all that stuff. Giants camp, it was well known. There's other stuff we found around, but yeah, that's for another show, Giants. Yeah, if you check out these two statues, there's a shorter, happy guy. Don't he look happy, that fella? And then the lady, I actually thought she had a beard at first, but then Grub lets me know that she's got a face cover on, and I'm like, yeah, thanks, Grub. I was going to say, does she look like she's got a beard? But no, she hasn't, and she's tall, obviously.
Like my second worst fear is growing a beard. Mainly, I had a dream that it happened once, and then also I have like a hair growing on my chin.
Oh, that's supposed to be.
There's an app that beer drinkers can use called Untapped, where you can try beers and rate them and share them with your friends. I never use it, But if you're on Untapped, I'm the bearded lady.
And just say, let you know and make you feel better, in our culture, the women that have the facial hair are considered as wise. So
It makes me feel a little better, but I'd rather not have facial hair.
we'll come
Oh,
in.
it's so nice to be a Paleo American with minimal hair.
Yeah, all right. Smoothie. No, you're right. True.
Okay, androgyny, and that's
Save a lot of time and trouble, wouldn't it?
I don't have the camera on now because I got quite a beard. I've been playing Santa Claus here lately.
Yay.
It is satisfying plucking the hair, though.
Look at this fella here, this statue. Now, is he Native American or Viking? He's got 2 plaits, and he's wearing some sort of long skirt. Could be a grass. Who knows what it's made of? Could be a islander skirt. And it's got a tie over the top. It's a little bit Egyptian looking too, you could say, but he's got
It's an out of water Egyptian mermaid.
He's got 2 long plaits and a bit of a beard, and obviously long hair or something. You can't see the whole thing proper, but that statue survived as well. Presuming all this is what it says it is. Okay.
Those boobs are a breastplate.
No, I think that's the end of his plaits.
I love that image. I don't know why, I just love it.
We'll describe it for Nancy.
It's like a twilight, like almost looking night sky with, I guess it looks like a big rock. I would want to say glacier, but I guess it does look more like a rock. It's, I mean, it's triangle shaped, but it looks natural. But there is also, on the right-hand side, a tallish-looking statue, and looks like it's about, I don't know, couple hundred feet in front of the triangle-looking rock, and it's just, I don't know, it's just pretty. And then there's also like kind of, I don't want to say like, it just looks natural, like natural rubble and stuff between the rock and the big rock and the statue. And that statue, if that was natural, then well, we're more like, I feel like that would just be a testament that we're nothing. If that makes sense. I don't know. It made sense in my brain.
The statue looks like a fella wearing a coat. He looks like an ordinary fella that you'd see today wearing a heavy coat, buttoned up at the front with a collar. That's what it looks like from here.
It looks like something from a really cool science fiction movie.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Where there's a lot of gold, and then the still shot, just the way the film just registers, just looks like there's this gold sheen, and in the aura of the sheen, there's a man standing on a pillar on a pile of rocks that are kind of they're stepped. And he's on top of them, 1 foot forward, the other one back, like conqueror.
I wonder how big that is in scale. And
I wonder if my estimations were right at all.
Noticing all the ice bits at the back, like that pointy one, I noticed them all through in the background, and I wonder what's underneath them because they look like kind of statues. I mean, the way it's sitting there, there's something else underneath that ice peak to hold it up. So there's plenty to be revealed still. This is just hitting the iceberg. To put a pun. That looks like they were in the middle of a storm when they took that photo. It's just a picture of a rock wall, and a vertical, could be a doorway or a wall, and it looks like the middle of a storm. Notice the square cut rocks. More ice, more snow, footprints. See the footprints? Rubble. There's another pyramid. Look at that in the background. Looks like another pyramid or a building or something. Who knows?
It does.
Mesoamerican.
Yeah, hey, look, there's a ship frozen in the water. Or something frozen there. Looks like a wooden ship. There's a pillar or something. Plenty of landscape. 3 sinkholes and a frozen ship in the background. That sounds like a pirate song.
I know. Or a pirate board game or something.
3 sinkholes and a frozen ship. 3 sinkholes and a frozen ship. Hey oh, hey oh, hey oh. All right. Obviously, that looks like a circular pond with a statue in the middle, eh?
That's sus.
Yeah, whatever's in the middle is frozen, but it looks like a circular pond. Obviously, it's perfectly circular. No trees, no vegetation.
Could that be at one point have been a crater?
You know, there's the frozen ship. Look at that. Another frozen ship. There's more than one. Oh, look at that. There you are, a doorway thing and a remnants of a building in the background.
I like it.
Yeah, eh? It's got writing there. I can't see it. It's this, can't.
I wish we had structures like this here.
We do. You just got to know where to find them. That's another show. I've got plenty of that. I can show you stuff like that. If you imagine stuff like that, overgrown in the bush and only a little bit of it peeking out, but you can kind of make out what it is. I find plenty of that. The stuff I find, I just don't put it up because it's open too much. Oh, look at that little statue. Now that looks like it's made of, it's got ice on it, but it looks like it's made of ice at the same time. It's a face. It's just a head on a little stone platform.
What if it's an actual head mummified?
I was just thinking that it could even be a frozen head.
Ooh.
That's scary, eh? Yeah, it could be a frozen head. Look at the eye. Oh, we'll go back to that. Back to the beginning. Go back to there.
If it's on a pedestal, it won't get ahead in life anymore.
No, it won't.
Oh, eh? Yeah, but that kind of looks
Well
real.
said.
That's scary. It looks like they chipped it out. That's what square looks like. What do you reckon, Tommy?
Creepy. It definitely has facial features on it.
Yeah.
You know, but I'm sure, archaeologists will say it's natural formation. And we just tend to,
I mean, the way that it looks like it's carved out, the helmet that he's wearing looks like it's from, again, the East.
they always
wonder
they
if it-
they always
Sorry,
want
go
to say everything's this natural formation. It's just formations in nature, and then we add meaning and symbolism to them. What's that condition where you see something
Okay,
like
Amelia.
you look in the sky and you see a cloud and you make it into an object?
The
It has a term.
pareidolia.
Pattern.
The pareidolia.
No, it's something. It's a name for that where
Our
humans,
tendency to see patterns out of randomness.
yeah, humans tend to make a
Pareidolia,
pattern from
yeah.
an image.
They said it. I can't. I know what it is. I just can't say it.
False positives.
Pareidolia or something like that.
It's some scientific term. I can't recall it at the moment, but it's basically you look for an image or pattern in random objects. Like somebody sees the face of Jesus in a slice of toast.
That's why
I
I stay
wonder-
away from numerology.
I wonder if that face looks like the face on Mars. You say it has like a helmet-like thing on it.
No, it didn't look like the face from Mars. It looked like it looked very realistic, like a big, huge head could be encased in ice. It had the features on the face, not to be stereotypical, but I've often heard of people mention a Roman nose. I mean, there was a lot of ice in one area on that face, and I'll leave it at that.
Excuse me.
Yeah. So there you go. We've had a 3-hour tour tonight, or today, this morning, this afternoon, wherever you are.
Anybody drop the Discord link?
No, I haven't done none of that. I've been busy navigating.
KBS Discord, go there. Maybe after the show, we'll jump in my room and talk about the surprise that's coming up.
Yeah, do that. We're going in ASA's room. Ooh, I hope you got food. and drinks and all that ready?
Just some cannabis.
Do you have the lava lamps already warmed up for us?
Just
I'll
some
stop by
cannabis.
for a quick bit, but I did tell, well, not that anybody really cares, but
Her
who am I
fans
kidding?
are waiting for her.
No, I want to go play World of Warcraft. That's the truth of it.
just
I have
remember,
the itch.
remember Antarctica when you're playing.
I'll try and like maybe gear my adventures towards like being near ice if I can.
Okay.
I'll definitely be talking or yarning about pole shifts. Well, maybe not, but
Well,
Whatever.
thanks
I
for
probably
joining
will.
us, Renzo.
Yeah, thanks
well,
for
thank
joining.
you for having me and inviting me. I'm so glad that I did.
So let's do a roundup now on the Antarctica. The top of the world, if that's the way. No, what happens if not?
Yes. Islands
Not
at the top of the world kind of remind me of this story here. A scientist goes looking for his son and stumbles across a lost Viking civilization in modern times. That
Jules,
might
you
have
should
been-
write books.
No, that's not an original idea. That was, I believe it was a book, and then it was made into a movie.
Oh, well, what was I going to say? What happens if we are Atlantis and we're in the middle of the ring and there's outer rings and that's the first outer ring that got frozen over? Who knows? We'll find out in the future. The truth's coming out. So anyway, so what do you reckon, Renzo? Round up your Antarctica experience there.
I have one question. Where were these pictures like supposed to have been from? I've been curious, and I'm sorry if y'all already said it.
1912?
No, I saw
Does
the
it say the
1912.
area of
Yeah.
Antarctica? Or
Yeah, Antarctic expedition. That's all it says.
I wonder what part of Antarctica also.
Well, depends.
Oh,
Whether
it's
it's-
all
Yeah.
over?
it'd
The
have
part
to
they
be on
don't
the
allow
edge.
anyone to see.
Depends what you think Antarctica is.
Somewhere along the edge.
Also, pretty much it's got me thinking about things I've put to bed in my mind for the time being, just, for my sanity purposes, that I might go digging into again.
Okay. Well, that saying, don't wake a sleeping dog.
So take it slow.
Yeah, you don't wake them up when you wake up when you're ready.
Yeah.
Maybe
Otherwise, you
she
go
just
crying in the
woke.
dirt.
If you're on here, you're already awake or half awake, because these are the questions and evidence that mainstream doesn't talk about.
Yep.
Now,
It's almost funny at this point.
You got to laugh.
and the real
Yeah.
question is, will this ever become mainstream, or will it always be a niche topic where only a few people actually question the truth and evidence and facts of the past?
It
Depends on
think
whether or
it will?
not they think they're going to get caught.
depends on when you get the neural link.
Oh, goodness.
I mean, because if you're looking at these pictures right here, and if it is true, this is 1912 remnants of Antarctica, then you're forced to rewrite human history, and that's the problem. Nobody wants to actually go back and rewrite what we officially have as our history.
Yeah, nobody wants to admit they're wrong.
Well, I got a problem with that, Tommy, because when I went to school and I had my high school history class, they told me that when Captain Cook discovered Australia, that nobody lived here. And I'm sitting in the classroom looking at the history teacher thinking, that's fucking bullshit. What am I doing here? What's my friend doing here? Right? And I actually...
Exactly.
I said to him, I can't do this because it's not real. And he goes,
Well, remember, you're flora and fauna, so actually you weren't there considered as a human. They said there were no humans here.
Honestly, Luna, your existence made me realize how ignorant I was, because what you just said, I was under the impression that he was in Australia, really. And then I was like, oh my goodness. And then I was like, man,
Well, who's discovered
Stupid
anything?
American.
I mean, did Christopher Columbus actually discover America? There were already people living there.
Yeah,
I
that's right.
mean, they didn't discover anything. There were already native civilizations all over the world. So you got all these explorers discovered, all these continents and countries, and they didn't
Maybe
discover anything.
he was the first to go with the crown backing him in a while. Maybe, I don't know. Or I don't know. Or they just wanted, I don't know. Who knows?
Well, an
Yeah.
interesting thing, when I just brought up Columbus, during Columbus's voyage, he had written in his journals about seeing UFOs
I was just thinking that.
during the trip, and it's documented.
It is.
I think he saw them. Was it in the Caribbean, Jules?
I believe so. I'd have to
Him and some of his
fire up the memory machine.
shipmates, some of the crewmates saw some. I think they were underwater UFOs. Actually, there was lights following them underwater.
There's underwater vehicles.
Yeah, that was something, Luna, when we did our pirate show. I never got a chance to get to was the woo with pirates.
Mhm.
And UFOs was one of them, and the Flying Dutchman was another one.
That's where the Flying Dutchman comes from.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there actually really is a
Oh,
flying.
look at that.
Oh,
And
I only know about
there's,
that.
3 holes in a frozen ship. 3 sinkholes in a frozen ship.
Wait,
3 sinkholes in a frozen ship.
what do y'all think about Bermuda Triangle?
Oh, there's more than one of them.
Oh, we got 3 hours right now. Let's not start going down another rabbit.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm talking about Caribbean.
Going down another rabbit hole. It's too late for that, Alice.
Yeah.
I'm late. I'm late.
So
One
The
day?
white cat-
hope he's
Why does
enjoyed.
why does the rabbit have to be white?
Why does anything associate to that? Why is it white stuff and black shit? I don't know. It's stigma. I don't know what. Look, there's a white hat fella's head.
Is he white though? Or is it just the ice?
I was just going to say that, but is he white? He could be black, frozen. He's white now.
It could be a black man underneath all that ice.
Oh,
Could be
all
blue.
right. So, what did you think of that?
It was a fun evening.
It was fun. I hope
Yeah.
everybody enjoyed it.
I saw some stuff. I learned some things, and that's what it's about.
Cool.
You
Right,
learn something new every day.
Yep.
you do.
Yeah, that's right. I learned something new. I learned what dogma actually was. All right. So what do we got coming? I'm hoping I can put in another show before Christmas. Because we traditionally never had Christmas, but we had similar stuff, and we want to look at that. And I know that Europeans have different views on Christmas to what we've all generally been exposed to. And there's someone called Krampus, and there's some other stuff like that. So we might take a look at that for our Christmas.
Do you want to yarn next Friday about just
Christmas.
whatever? I mean, I'm keen to know more of gingerbread. And
It's a Christmas.
Yeah, so yeah, I'm trying to fit that in. I kind of want to get some of us. I want to get Donnie Nace and a couple of others and look at it traditionally because we had stuff. So I'll try and fit as many people as I can on the show to talk about Christmas. It should be fun.
And we got some great news next week.
And we've got some really good. Yes, we'll have news for you also before Christmas. Okay. So
But
we'll
before I go, I wanted to share one thing, Luna. Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's why I'm going around the board. We'll go around the board so we can go for it.
I would appreciate it if people want to learn about history or his story in America. Right now, there are a group of people on horses that are riding their horses I can't remember exactly how many miles through this weather we're having right now. And we're having blizzards and lots of snow. And they're riding their horses to Mankato because on December 26th was the largest known U.S. execution of 38 Native Americans that were hung from the Dakota Uprising. And the town was flooded by people the day after Christmas because so many people wanted to witness this mass execution because the Native Americans were sick and tired of not being treated fairly, and many other reasons pushed them to hostility. And so, you know, yeah, 38. I think there's a great movie out there. You can get it on YouTube called 38+1. So, not to be a little downer, but you know, there's like we keep finding out when we have these discussions, there's a difference between his story and history. And I think it is our due diligence to learn what we can.
Here, here.
Yeah, great.
So, and thank you guys so much for joining us. I always appreciate the opportunity to share present moments with all of you. And Ape Gish, Minnow Bimadazi Wewion. Toodles.
And yeah, Jules, Tommy, you want to say yalu, goodbye?
It's always a pleasure coming on with you guys. I learn something new every time. Every time you have a group of people together, everyone puts out ideas, and no one person has all the answers. So it's a group effort.
Thank you. I want to thank you for coming.
My pleasure.
And all right, I was going to try and go out on music, but I'm having technical problems.
Hashtag relatable.
Yeah, it's okay. It was nice to.
Here's a song. Yo ho and a big sinkhole, an old frozen pirate ship. Yo ho, avoid the sinkhole, or else we're going to end up in the drink.
Where's the rum? Why is there no rum?
He'll haul you onto some icicles.
Give me an ice cube.
That would be worse than being keel hauled. Imagine just being keel hauled and then with icicles. Ooh.
Share the giggles.
So stay happy. I want to thank everyone for coming on tonight. I want to thank you for showing up. Thank you everyone in the chat room for joining in. Creator loves you on this day. Stay centered, stay wise, stay laughing.
Stay grounded, espresso yourself, and know I love you a latte.
Hope you enjoyed it. Yalu, bye. Here we go.